dislikes. You know, utilize the shit you have, and you know, enjoy it. Like I never see like when he was little, he used to really get into like when he was littler, I guess I should say, because he's still little. But when he was little, I used to see him like create these crazy like setups where he would have like all his Imaginext doing like whichever ones are part of a certain group. Like he used to have like all these Space Patrol guys, and so he'd have like Doomsday attacking the Space Patrol guys, and then Superman like flying over to help him. And so he would set up his bed to look like a different planet, you know, like they're on the surface of a different planet, and the guys would have their fucking helmets on and stuff like that. And it cracked me up because it's like, this is what I would have done if Imaginext existed when I was a kid, you know, because you get to have all the things all in one, you know, one line. You get fucking spacemen, you get aliens, you get ninjas, you get samurai, you get pirates, fucking badass pirate ships and spaceships and boats and cars and dinosaurs and all this shit. And I'm like, if I had even just one of these areas, like if I had just the dinosaurs and the people, I'd have been happy. Because we didn't really like things.
We did have Dino Riders.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We did have Dino Riders.
They existed for sure. I only ever saw, and I had a couple of the Dino Rider dudes.
Yeah.
But I never had any of the actual dinos, because the only ones that we saw were the expensive ones, the big ones. Because, you know, back in those days,
it's like the fucking T-Rex,
the T-Rex,
and the Brontosaurus that were
the Brontosaurus or Diplodocus, and then the there was another giant one too. It wasn't a mammoth. They didn't get. I don't think they ever made the mammoth. But yeah, there was another big one, Dimetrodon, I think it was, or something. He had a big ass fin.
Yeah,
and I always saw them on the top shelf or the bottom shelf. I can't remember. It was on one of the shelves.
Yeah, I couldn't. We weren't even allowed to reach those.
Yeah, it was like, nope. Yeah, it was like, yeah, don't touch it. Don't touch it. I couldn't even ask my parents for it. And then when I did for Christmas, I was like, yo, this is the only thing I want. I wanted Krulos, I think was his name, the bad guy with the T-Rex. Krulos and his
what was the Hammerhead guy's name? I always liked him.
There were like a couple variants of him. We had one named Mako, and he was a shark-looking dude. And then there was a guy named Shark, which is pretty lame.
I wanted the Hammerhead shark head guy.
Yeah, we had a couple of him, and I had the fucking there was a guy.
He was like, what was it? I think he was like the Starscream of the group.
Yep, he was. He was
always trying to like take out Krulos.
Yep.
And take over.
Yeah, man, those were cool, man. And those figures, the actual dinosaurs were like pretty damn like correct in their design, and then they were huge.
Yeah, they were huge. And this is pre-Jurassic Park.
Yeah, like way before Jurassic Park. Yeah, like a decade or so before Jurassic Park. Yeah, shit was awesome. Speaking of which, remember we saw the beasts of the Cyberzoic and the beasts of the Mesozoic display at SDCC?
Yes.
Those fucking Cyberzoic figures look insane, man. Like I'm gonna figure out how to get some of those, or at least one of them, because they look fucking phenomenal. And the fact that they come with riders and fully articulated dinos, like, yeah.
I might have to try and get one. It kind of gave me the nostalgic feel, and it's not really nostalgic, but when Mythic Legions were just like the first wave was announced, and we were like staring at those, we're like, holy shit, look at all the detail. It's like fucking He-Man for adults, and like and I was like, I'm getting Atlas, I promise you that. So if I get one, it's Atlas.
Yep. Shit, and didn't you get like all of them so far? Or
no,
most of
I
them?
don't have all of them. It's just that line's way too expensive.
Yeah, it is.
I got the ones that I got all of Wave 2.
Okay.
I don't have all of Wave 1. That's just way too hard to get. I got Otho. That was really hard to get.
Oh, how much did you end up having to spend for them?
$60.
Shit.
At least $60. I found them at a local con in Buffalo before I moved. Before I think it was like a year before I moved.
At least it was only double. You didn't pay like, because he usually goes like in the hundreds, and like that's pretty stupid.
Like $200. It's stupid.
Shit is ridiculous, man. I can't believe that collectors allowed it to get to that point. I mean, I know somebody wants to make money, but it's like, shit, man. You just took these things and made them like, you just priced people out of that shit. Like, it's not even remade.
Well, and they had chances to re-release him in All-Star Waves, and they just haven't done it. I'm like, why? He's like a major hitter.
Yeah, I think it's the obvious. We always complain about this.
Oh yes, that's right. I forgot.
I think it's the obvious, sadly, because like they always do that.
The majority of white people collect this line. They don't want a black man.
One is just
being brought back.
It's just one of them. One. He's the only one next to that angel chick.
Yes, Gadriel.
Gadriel, and they're like, nope.
Well, and Aspira.
The chick I have.
Spire.
Hera, Serpent Spire.
Yeah. Yes, Hera, Serpent Spire. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody else is either white or dead.
Or undead or something, yeah. It's just weird because
vampires is white people.
It's just weird because it's like, it's a fantasy universe. Like, you can have all the, I mean, it's got to have like a hot region. It's got to have a cold region, mountainous region. Yeah. You got to have, you got to have your different places, and you want to bring them all together. Now, though, they do have those wizards. I have almost, I think I have all of them pre-ordered. I was like, I don't care. My wallet is going to hurt.
Good job. Look at you.
It only took
big boy pants on.
I know, right?
Going big boy town.
It only took like what, 6 years or something?
Yeah, you for a long time, you stubborn motherfucker.
I know, right?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I just can't do it. And I was like, you gotta just go in once.
Yeah.
Just go in once.
Yeah, I did it. I was like, I have, when I saw the wizards, because like, if I was to exist in one of those places, I'd be like a martial arts wizard. Like, I want to be a wizard that does martial, kind of like a Jedi, but like, I want to have a staff. I want to have my own like special sword like Gandalf or something, but I want to actually kick fucking, kick bad guys and shit and punch bad guys and stuff. But when I saw, I think his name is Poxus, I was like, yo.
Yes, that Poxus wave is great.
I'm like, I need it.
Where was it? There's a couple I ordered. I didn't get the whole thing or anything like that. I just got a couple. That's all I could really afford at the time.
Same here.
I picked up.
I got just all the wizards. I think I got Poxus and
Samir Scroll Warder.
Yeah.
These fucking names, dude. Holy shit, dude. What are you trying to do to my tongue? It's not working. And then I'll just go with Zende.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to pronounce that last name.
Yeah, Zende. That's what I was talking about.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my god. Yeah.
and I got Poxus, and that was really all. I was like, okay, the rest, I can live without,
Yeah. Yeah, I got and I'm probably gonna go back and I'm going to remove some of them and simplify. But like, yeah, I put so many of them in there, and the same thing with the what are they called? I was actually, when I said Poxus, I was talking about Zende. So Zende and Poxus himself were the main ones that I was like, yo, I gotta get them, and then Calazir, the weird looking genie thing. I was like,
the genie in a bottle.
Yeah, I was like,
where's
I need that. Dude.
Christina Aguilera when you need her.
Oh my god! Yeah, they should have had a female. That'd have been dope if they had a female one.
Right way.
Wow. Oh my god, she got thick though, man. Jesus.
Her shit is all fucked up. You see her face? Her face looks
now
like
she's
puff. Like it's a big puff.
Yeah, now she's weird, but like she did get thick. There was a point. I haven't seen what she looks like in recent years, but I know like the last time I saw her on something, she was like one of those. What do they call those? Like America's Got Talent or some shit. I was like, damn girl, what happened? You like seriously got thick. Like what the fuck? You were a tiny little thing before, but
America got
hungry.
America's got. Breast implants. America's got breast implants and collagen. America's got collagen. That's what she should be on now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, I am all for DSLs, natural looking ones. But when like women are just shoving shit into their faces, like
it's weird.
It doesn't age well. You look like a puffer fish, for Christ's sake.
A puffer fish.
Just stop, please. You're ruining your face. You're gonna look like Joan Rivers by the time you're 45.
Oof. Yeah, she was. Oof. Thrice. I think that's her name. Thrice Wraithhaler. She looks pretty dope too.
These fucking names.
I know, right? Hey, at the very least, they're original as fuck.
That is true.
They don't sound like anybody else, but Jesus, they are. Some of them are kind of complex names, you know. But it's kind of par for the course when you're dealing with D&D type shit, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
But she looks dope.
You don't have Attila, do you?
No, I don't.
What you need to do, and the price looks fucking ridiculous when you look at it, but
what, the 2-pack?
Yeah.
Because then I could have what's his name with his weapons.
Yeah, and he comes with they both come with upgraded armor and cloth capes and.
Didn't they already come with cloth capes? I thought.
No, the original Attila. I got him right here. He doesn't come.
Oh, Attila doesn't. I'm talking about. I know Gorgo did.
Yeah, but I think this cape is better. And they both come with special swords and shields for themselves.
Huh.
Attila comes with this crazy newly sculpted warhammer with a big ass lion's head on it. It's crazy.
Huh.
And Gorgo comes with Arthier.
Yeah.
It's like a big shield with Arthier's crest sculpted on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I see they have
and
way
it comes
more
with
detail.
The Aether Blade.
Yeah. Yeah, I might do it. I don't know. It's just if I'm gonna pay this, I want to be getting the quality of those.
Sure.
What are they called? The Fight for Glory. Combatants. Fight for Glory. You know what I'm talking about? Those big gladiator dudes.
Oh, the what's the name of that company?
It's like Zesray Toys, I think.
Yeah.
I've
heard those figures kind of suck though.
Really? They
their quality is shit.
Really?
Not good stuff. Yeah, really. I've seen a few reviews and people are like, this is not the quality that I paid for. And they're what was there, $70, $80?
Yeah.
A piece?
60 or 70, yeah.
You're better off just getting a Mythic Legion. I know the articulated points are on Mythic Legions, but at least, you're going to get Four Horsemen quality. That company, I've seen a lot of people spending SH Figure Arts prices and they're not getting anything close to SH Figure Arts quality.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's what was going on. I haven't really watched any reviews though. It's been years. I've just watched the figures themselves from afar. And one of my homeboys, he has a couple of them. He said they were fine, so I went with him with what he was saying because if they got them in hand.
Maybe it's an isolated thing, but I've seen multiple reviewers be like, just watch out. Some of the quality on these are loose ass joints, legs falling off, arms breaking at the elbows. I guess the elbows are a real issue with those.
Wow, that sucks. I have one of the chicks.
I was gonna buy one or two and be like, okay, those are my one.
Yeah, exactly.
Two, because I love the gladiator. But I'm Mythic Legions. I was already making a couple gladiators, so I'll just stick with those.
But I guess my main thing is their articulation is nuts. They're pretty, for big buff dudes, they're pretty damn, articulated. And I'm at least double jointed elbows and knees. I want them to hold their swords with both hands. And only the skinny characters in Mythic Legions can do that. Yet some of the characters, you see how big the Aether Blade is.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to fucking, dual wield that, or, double hand that shit. And instead, he can barely do that because it's not. I guess he's not supposed to. I don't know. I saw him doing it in the artwork because I follow the guy Nate Beard, I think his last name is. I could be wrong, but he does the artwork on the packaging and stuff, and he also does the artwork for Motu Masterverse.
Gotcha.
So I've been following him for a couple years now, and I saw like he had them in poses that I can't put the figure in, and I was like, fuck, I want to put him in the same pose. I'll have to like either take him apart, cut off the joint, and then like drill a hole and then fix like
it's not worth doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to really have to do all that, But I was like, yeah, if I did something like that, I could give them a little bit more articulation. But yeah, you shouldn't have to do all that extra. So that's always been my gripe with the Horsemen. It's like you make great shit, but then you keep on making them in terms of like your engineering. It's always like a generation behind. Like when they did DCUCs, this is after Toy Biz Marvel Legends, and I'm like, you already were competing with them with the DC superheroes back when Toy Biz was handling Marvel Legends. Now Hasbro's handling it, and you still haven't upgraded, your DCUCs or the Signature Series or any of that shit. It's still the same single jointed everything, and it's like, yo, these are awesome figures. Give them that little bit more. And we did get like a wave or two where there were a bunch of characters with double jointed elbows and knees, and then they just went back to the same shit. Again. I'm just like, come on, guys.
You're still close.
Yeah, super close.
It's like you're rounding the corner and then you trip over a stick and fall on your face.
Exactly. Yeah, it's strange, man. It's fucking strange. I don't understand why that's what they choose to do instead. But I do have fun with them. I like the few Mythic Legions that I do have. I really like them. I wish the hands on what's her name, Miss Gwendolyn Heavensbrand. I wish.
Gwendolyn Heavensbrand, the sister of
Sir Gideon. I wish that like her hands were better because she had a really cool sword that she kept dropping it. Like whenever we'd play, she'd drop it. As soon as we put it in her hand and she collides with somebody else's sword, it would just fall out of her hand. I'm like, woman, you got to protect the people of the land. What are you doing? Like, you're a knight. This is your job. Do your job.
She's like, I'm protecting them with intimidation.
I know, right? With words.
With words, and you scoundrel. How dare you?
But
off with you.
Know,
do you
right?
see this armor? Isn't it glorious? Now run away.
Run away before I am forced to thrash you.
Yes, with more of my tongue lashings.
But yeah, man, I just.
And Gorgo's like, please, no more. Oh,
I know, right? He starts crying.
The Aether Blade is useless against your tongue lashings.
He runs off like in a Full House. I hate you, and they run up the stairs. Yeah. You're so mean all the time.
So like Full House.
You remember that was like the thing. They'd be like, you never listen to me, and they run up the steps, and their arms are all flopping around and shit.
Yep, and then they play that Full House music.
The fucking acoustic guitar. It's all sad.
Tender moment. Fucking. Listen, Michelle, you're being a little bitch downstairs, okay? And I just want to let you know, as your father.
I know you shouldn't be like that.
Don't be a little bitch, all right?
Oh my god. It would have been a much different show if we had written it. It would have been
oh my god. It would have been on HBO coming out right after Oz.
Or fucking on Adult Swim or something. So
yeah.
so we could get away with all this.
This week after Oz. Full House.
I know, right? What was the one sister's name? Stephanie. Stephanie tries cocaine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, she actually did try cocaine in reality. She had too much of that shit. And she ended up in rehab 4 or 5 times or something. Actually, I think she did meth or something crazy. Like, that's...
Shit, I was just playing, but damn. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okie dokie. Well, back to San Diego Comic Con. Right? So how about that, San Diego?
I know, right? we gonna talk about these toys, baby.
Yeah, these toys, baby.
These toys, baby.
The toys we don't like, we gonna throw them right out the bay window, baby. That's right.
Oh my God! Yeah,
we're here to get funky like a monkey and jerky like a turkey, baby. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. It's not Saturday night; it's Tuesday night, baby. But we're gonna treat it like a Saturday night. Yeah, on WCW Saturday night.
Oh my God! See, you see what we give you. You see this? All of this.
Free.
You don't
this
get
is
this
free.
You don't get this from anywhere else. Yeah. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Oh, let's see. What else? I guess we could talk about. We may as well jump into the turtles because
yes,
we like turtles. We like turtles.
I like turtles.
I like turtles. So actually, before we talk about the SDCC stuff with the turtles, let's talk about the turtle vans. Because there's 3 different turtle vans. There's the one NECA's doing. There's the one that actually came out. It's already out. I think 2 of the 3 are already out, right? There's the secret.
I have no idea. You know more than I do. I'm just going to let you roll with it. I only thought there was one, and it was Super 7. So.
Yeah, so there's Super 7. Yeah, Super 7's is on the way. Then there's NECA's doing one. Yeah, and it's weird because like a lot of people like it, but at the same time, it's kind of a revamp of the Party Wagon from the original toy line, which it's in line with what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to remake the old figures and just, you know, kind of size them up and add articulation. So I get it. And it looks nice if that's what you're into, but not for $500. That doesn't make sense to me. It's a box with wheels. You can't be trying to convince me that just because it comes apart that it should cost $500. Like that's a lot. But then there's the so NECA's doing one, Super 7's doing one, and then there's what were they called? Secret Arsenal or something like that? Underground Arsenal. That's what they were called. Yeah. Underground Arsenal is doing one, and I like theirs because it reminds me of. You know me, like when it comes to turtles, the first 4 or 5 episodes, the pilot season that came out, you know, before the real cartoon came out, that's my shit. So anything that like is a throwback to that, I want it. And they've already boosted the price up on that one. That one was actually the cheaper one of the bunch. It was like $150 or something like that. Now. Mm-hmm. That shit is 2.
Oh, fuck off!
It's 2 something. 2. I'm seeing it on eBay and I'm not seeing it anywhere else. I guess we got to find another place to get that shit.
It's called I'm not getting it.
Yeah, it shit hurts my heart.
It's called I'm not getting it. That's what it's called.
It's called Nope. Nope. That's the real Nope. Like,
yep.
Nope. I'm kind of sad.
It's all right.
Now.
You'll note me in a minute when I reveal something. So go ahead.
What'd you do?
I didn't do shit. We'll talk about that later when it comes up.
Oh, wait a second. I think there are a couple places that still. Nope. It's gone up everywhere. Yeah, forget that. I was looking towards getting the Underground Arsenal one, but only because I was like, if I'm gonna get a definitive turtle van, I want it to look like the ones from the first season. So I couldn't even find anywhere to pick up the NECA one because the pre-orders with that, like everything else NECA does, they pre-order out in like 5 minutes. So I just was like, fuck it, I'll enjoy the turtle vans I already have, because I do have I have the Shellraiser, I have the which is the you know the it's like a train car that they turned into the like prototype turtle van, you know. And that thing's pretty awesome. It fits most of the turtles, and because it doesn't have a traditional like this is the front seat and this is the back seat type setup, it just has like an area where you stand and hold the like the gears to move, to steer everything. It works for almost all the different turtles except for the Super 7 ones. The movie ones and the Super 7 ones are way too big for that, but everyone else you can get them in there. Then I have the one from the Out of the Shadows movie. That turtle van's pretty dope. It's the smallest of the bunch, but it's a pretty cool design. And then I have the one from the 2000, is it 10 or 12 CGI cartoon, and that one looks like a updated version of the classic Turtle Van. And that one's pretty dope. The back doors open, side doors open, the front open, so you can sit them in there. The only thing I don't like is that the steering wheel is really low on that one. So like when you put April on there, like the steering wheel should be way up by the fucking windshield, you know? Like should be able to see part of the steering wheel at the top or at the bottom half of the windshield, you know? But like this thing is way down, like in their lap. So like, you know, I guess if you wanted to, you could always go in and like elongate that the piece that's holding the steering wheel on there, and then it could be in the right place. But you know, that's a small criticism. It's still dope. I could still fit everybody in there and then some. And like I just love the fact that the back doors open up, because like the A-Team van I have doesn't even do that. I have the A-Team van from, you remember when the movie came out, somebody, I can't remember what company, maybe it was like Jazz Pacific or something.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. It was like, I think it was like 4-inch.
Yeah.
For Joe's in there.
Yeah, for Joe's and stuff. Yeah, so it only has like the front doors open and the side door slides open, and that's it. You have to figure out how to get everything in there. And then like if you push the fuel canister area, like the fuel you know, cap area, it talks. You'll hear BA saying like, "You miss me, girl, cause I missed you." And yeah, it's cool. Like I like it a lot. It's sturdy as hell. I mean, both my sons played with it. Like when the bigger one was younger, he played with it, and then this younger one, he plays with it. It's still standing up to whatever they throw at it. So you know, it's quality shit. But like, it's not 100% like it doesn't have all the features, you know. Whereas like the $100 and something or $200 something Playmobil one has like lights and sounds, and it has the fucking back doors open, the side doors open, like the top, you can take the top off and, you know, situate people on the inside and whatnot. Like Playmobil does the damn thing when they start doing vehicles. Jesus Christ, I just don't have the money for Playmobil shit. Like nah, yeah, I'll watch that from afar. Like, did you see the Enterprise they did?
No.
It's like the greatest Star Trek Enterprise toy ever made.
Really?
Ever made.
Shit.
It fucking, you can charge it with the same charger you would use for your phone, a similar one that you use for your phone, and it even has an app that you can put on your phone, and then there's an area on the bridge where the main screen is, where you can, it's set up so you can put your phone in there, and it will react to the sounds, and you know, it'll do what it's supposed to do. It has like different screens of different characters popping up. I'm like, this is nuts, man. Like, I wish I'd be Star Trekking it up, man. We'd be exploring all kinds of space in my house.
Oh, hell yeah. I would love to. I've been saying this with the Turtle line and the Playmates Star Trek line. I would love to go and revisit. I had a ton of Star Trek stuff.
Yeah, I had the when the Next Generation came out, I had a whole bunch of that.
I love the Next Generation.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of like, there's a totally different crowd, but yeah. Star Trek, I get there's like a lot of people that don't like Next Generation. I don't know why. I see it as the best one, but that's just me.
Yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I enjoyed it.
Picard was just such a badass, man. He's just he's awesome.
Too bad they're fucking destroying his legacy with this new show.
I haven't watched it. I'm just like, I'm good. I have the Next Generation stuff. Like, that was good enough for me.
Exactly.
I don't need any more than that. Yep. Voyager was okay.
Yeah.
The original one is just too cheesy. I can't get into it.
I used to watch it with my grandfather. It was funny. He'd be cracking up, and it just made me crack up because he was laughing at it. But yeah, it was fun to watch, but it's hard to take seriously. And then Voyager,
it's kind of like the '66 Batman.
Yeah,
I can't watch that shit.
Yeah,
I just can't.
Yeah, I can't either. And then freaking Voyager, Mr. Chakotay.
Yeah,
Mr. Chakotay. Like that's like the main thing I remember about that show.
Yep, and the Borg chick with the huge boobies.
Oh my God, yes. What was her name? 7 of 9. Yes. Good God. Jerry Ryan. Yep. That's her real name. Yep. Yes. Good God. Yes, I do remember her.
Good golly, Miss Molly.
Shit.
Shit.
Oh my god. But yeah, so what were you gonna tell me? You said you were about to say something and have a
Sorry,
a
testosterone took over there for a minute.
A nope, I know, right? It was a flashback. It was a flashback.
Yeah, flashback, you know. Going back in time for a second. So some of the stuff that I saw, like I personally, as far as Turtle Vans go, I just want what was it? I think that re-release of the original came out.
Uh-huh.
That's really the only one I want for my original 4 turtles that I have. That's it. I'm good. I don't need anything for the Super 7 scale. The Super 7 scale is only gonna have I'm really cherry picking now with that because the prices are going up. But as far as the Turtle Vans go, like I said, just the original. I'd like to get up the Playmates re-release that they did. Maybe a blimp.
Yeah,
maybe
man.
A blimp, maybe a turtle blimp
That would
be
cool.
nice. I know they re-released that not too long ago. I think it was like last year or the year before.
Yeah, it's a Walmart. I think it's a Walmart exclusive. Yeah, I'd love that. I had it when I was a kid, and then I don't even remember. Oh, I lost it in the Purge, in the Great Purge. I forgot about that.
You had a Purge, I had a Flood, and we were both screwed anyway. As far as so some of the NECA Turtle stuff. Oh my God, the comic book line has me really hooked.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, those 4 comic book turtles look fucking,
and they did Splinter, and they did Casey. I was like, shit, now I got to do this all over. I'm like, fuck, guys, why do you?
Did you see that Triceratops? He's
ginormous.
Holy shit, he's huge. It's amazing.
And then they did the Mutanimals. They got a comic book style, like the Archie style, fucking Ray Fillet. Like, I'm like, man, you guys, you done did it. You done did it again.
You done did it now.
Like, shit. So,
but I'm finally going to get that kind of Mirage-esque issue number 1 style turtles that I've been wanting forever. Yeah. You know? Well, with all the red bandanas.
Yeah.
With the whited out eyes, with that kind of grown up look, you know, like that. That's what I've always wanted, is that specific comic book cover in toy form. And then I think that's the closest that we're getting get to it.
No, the comic book cover you're talking about, they did those turtles. They did those are the first turtles NECA ever did, remember? These are the later on. These are the Mirage, like, after the cartoon picked up, or I want to say simultaneously with the cartoon, then they did this where they were this is the Peter Laird style, like taller, elongated. He did paintings of them like this. And
that's what I'm talking. What was it? The comic cover. I'm not talking about the original look for the turtles. So NECA did that. I'm talking about the one that was on the Acclaim video game.
Oh
cover.
Yeah, Return to Manhattan. Yes.
That cover. That specific cover for that cover artwork. So that's what I'm looking for in turtle form, and I think that's the closest we're gonna get.
Yeah, you're right. So, you're right. Until they make it they make one exactly like that. Fuck,
man. I would be like, shit.
I know, right? But like, they're pretty much. This is my gripe, right? I have one gripe, and it's that, like, I think it's gotten to a point where some people's nostalgia has skewed their memory of the actual thing that you watched, because like, Ninja Turtles as a TV series does not hold up. Like, it's pretty bad. Like the original 80s to like mid 90s, Turtles, like up until the Red Sky seasons, and even that was bad. They really didn't act like the Ninja Turtles. It was just jokes and really bad animation, and more jokes and really bad animation, and like characters that we saw do cool stuff in the comics, but then in the TV show they were all a joke. I mean, Casey was a joke. Ace Duck, all those characters were jokes. Like,
Hey, keep Ace Duck out of this. Okay?
Oh no, Ace Duck is an awesome character.
I'm just messing around.
It's just weird though, like, cause like I'm looking at at what they showed at the booth for the cartoon Ninja Turtles, and they made all kinds of shit. Like, they got the fucking I don't even remember what he was called. That big police robot that I think fell in love with Irma.
Oh, Rex 1.
Rex 1.
Did you see the NECA? Oh, I don't want to go off on a tangent. Sorry,
that's what I'm talking about,
Continue.
though. Like, that was one of the things, and it's like, I remember it, and it's like, oh shit, they actually made a toy of this? Like, that's crazy.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, do you remember the episode? It was horrible.
It's terrible.
It's fucking terrible. Same thing with...
He's sweating Irma.
Yeah. No, he knows what's up, though, because those are the ones secretly that will blow your fucking mind. Like, the ones that look generic, you know, the ones that are putting it all out there, like the chick that Byrne was messing with. You know how there was that chick you would see in Channel 6 that's like, Bernie! With the big old boobs.
That sounded like Fran Drescher.
Yeah. Like that, those kinds of chicks, you already know what you're getting. You already know, but
you're just getting some ass, and that's about all you're getting. That's all they have to
what
offer.
you see is what you get.
Yeah.
The Irmas and the fucking Velmas, when you get them home, that's a whole different story. You're like, wow, I would have never thought. But there's your nugget of wisdom for those of you looking for for something. You go where everybody else is not necessarily going, and you might be surprised. Bugman, they did a Bugman figure. Do you remember?
I'll just say it. The freak comes out.
Oh my god! But yeah, man, like the Bugman figure, he looks cool. But, like, do you remember the episode? It was garbage. It was hot garbage. And, like, I remember, like, I have a bunch of the series because I bought it at... There was a bookstore that was going out of business a couple years back, and we kept seeing the volumes pop up there. So I think I have, like, the first 2 volumes. And, like, I'm watching it with kids. Literal, like, kids, the age group that this was aimed at. And they're not laughing at the jokes. They're like, man, this is terrible. And then I'm like, yeah, this is kind of terrible. I don't remember it being this bad. And, like, before we knew it, it was like, and we're like, let's put something else on. You know what I mean? Let's put something else on. And,
there's only so much more to say. I think I would say the only thing worse is probably the Deke Joes.
Oh, Lord. Cops was like that, too. Cops, like, the figures were dope. And then the characters were cool, but then if you watch the show, it's exactly like Ninja Turtles. It's all jokes, except for the first episode. That was a 2-parter. The rest of the series is bad animation and a whole bunch of jokes. And, like, you're looking at guys that should be kicking people's asses. You have cops that never use guns. Well, occasionally use guns. The crooks don't really do bad things. And I'm like, so why are they just called crooks, though? Like, I don't know. It was just so bad. But, like... I will say, for NECA's sake, though, just the fact that they're making some of these, I think the novelty of seeing these characters is just like, holy shit, you're making toys of these fucking characters that, like, I can't believe that anybody wants toys of these specific characters. Like,
can I bring up one?
The Crooked Ninja Turtle game.
Yes! That's exactly what I was going to say. You tell them that the Crooked Ninja Turtle game said so.
Yeah, I saw them and it was like that voice just started talking. I'm like, wow, like, yeah, they're onto something. Because, I mean, yeah, even though some of this shit is terrible, like, it's still it's amazing that they're actually going there. But, yeah, I hear people talk about the show and I'm like, yeah, you got to go back and watch this show, like, as an adult and then really, like, Mona Lisa, like, really? You bitch about Venus, but you're going to be like, yo, I want a toy of Mona Lisa. Get the fuck out of here. Like, why?
What? Why the fuck would you want that?
But they're making Mona Lisa, and they're going to, you know, people are going to go ape shit for her, and they're going to sell her for, like, 10 times what she actually costs. Like, you already know the deal with this stuff. So it's kind of funny to me that that's the way it goes. But, you know, there are a few that I want, like the standard Rock Soldier. I like that they're doing those. I would like to get a couple of those. I think it's...
we need General Trag re-release, by the way.
Yeah, both of them. They should, because there's a lot of people who missed out on them.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I count as everyone, okay?
It's everybody, baby.
Everybody, baby. That's right. On the list, then everybody's on the list because nobody wins, baby.
Oh, did you see that?
It's a dusty finish. Okay.
Did you see that Trag comes with the weather maker? You remember that? Like in the episode,
Yeah.
he said, "Cloudy with a chance of showers." He was like, "Aha! Total chaos."
Yes.
I couldn't believe it. That was one of the good episodes. Animation was on point. The jokes were on point. Like that one was on point.
You know what? You know what episode I fucking loathe? Is the one where April turns into like a cat. I hate episodes like that because I'm like, it's just like Cat Wolf. Like I'm like, oh, this is such a waste of a issue. Like, I don't care. I know he's not going to be Cat Wolf all the time. Just get out of here. Why are you doing this?
I know. Why you do this?
Why are you doing this? Unless April is now a cat.
Yeah.
Forever. She's never going to be.
Oh
just
my god.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too much.
I hated that shit.
Shit, I wanted the neutrinos, but I never even saw them go up for pre-order, so I don't even know that I'll ever be able to get them.
They probably sold out in 2019
I know, like 2 seconds.
Pre-order in 17 seconds. You know how people are so thirsty for that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thirsty for the fucking. I need to get the fucking. The neutrinos. That episode I was just talking about with the Weathermaker was awesome. The fact that the rock soldiers came through the portal chasing after the neutrinos, and the fucking I still have the foot cruiser. I know you won't be able to fit the NECA versions of them in there, but like that was fucking dope. Like if they make a NECA sized foot cruiser, I have to
that's
get
what
it.
I was about to say. I mean, you're making the neutrinos.
Yeah. And if you're making a turtle van,
you made a turtle van, you might as well make that shit next.
Yeah, exactly. So. And then now it'll be nuts if they make the fucking whatever it was called, the foot. It was the tank.
Stomper?
No, the tank thing that Trag and Granitor took to go get the neutrinos. Remember?
Oh,
it was like
the mole thing.
No.
Make one of those.
Yeah, the transport module. Yeah, they should make those. But I'm talking about there was this big ass tank that they shot. Remember, there's the scene where they're in the pizzeria with the arcade and they're playing, and then April's like, I'm kind of worried about what else could have come through dimension, and then the missile comes through the window and they all like duck, just barely getting hit by the missile, and then when they come out, they jump in the turtle van, the neutrinos jump in the foot cruiser, and Trag and what's his name are in this big ass silver tank with like spikes on the sides and like a big ass foot on the front.
That's okay.
And Leo cuts it in he cuts the wheels, like the treads, and that's what takes it out of commission. Remember, he pops out of the side of the van and just like Michelangelo's
shreds
like
it,
like rip him up, Leonardo.
Morpheus.
Exactly. In Matrix Reloaded. Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, man, they never made that toy for the Playmates. And if they did, it was called something else, and it was probably green, and it probably didn't look anything like the version in the cartoon. So, yeah, if they did that, I probably would be interested. I mean, depending on the price, because, I have adulting to do. I'm not going to spend, like, thousands in one shot on, on some vehicles that are going to sit in my cave most of the time, But, yeah, I'd be interested because that was when it was good to me. That was when the animation, the scenarios, everything worked. And then, shortly after that, they were like, fuck it, just let's cash in, send the shit to Korea and have them do real, mediocre animation and just churn this shit out. But yeah, did you see they're also doing like Secret of the Ooze versions of the movie Turtles, which I'm not a fan of at all. I mean, for people who didn't get the first ones, this is good, but like, I hate
I don't need it.
Yeah, their faces. Good. Yeah, their faces started going down. Kind of weird. In that movie, they were more like goofier and softer. They didn't look as tough. And then, but I know a ton of people are going to jump on those though. Same with the Turtles 3. There were people going ape shit for the fucking Ninja Turtles, the fucking band. What were they called? The live band or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? The tour, Coming Out of Our Shells tour.
Oh, fuck that.
I was like, really? I don't know. Yeah. And I know we've talked about this before, but I don't know a single person. I remember when we were kids, No one I knew liked that shit. We all were like, why do they look like that?
Why do they look like idiots?
Where are their shells? Like, we were all like, no, this doesn't look right. Why are they got all these sequin?
What happened with me when I was a kid was my mom was like, oh, there's a turtle show. Do you want me to buy tickets for it? I was like, sure, Mom. She brings me to the show, and I'm like, where's the fighting? Where's the... Why the fuck are they wearing... Why are they singing? What the hell's going on? And I notoriously, like, hate musicals.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not a fan.
I loathe musicals. I can't stand it. I'm just like, why are they singing what they're saying? That's just say what you need. Just what? No, stop. It makes no sense at all. It's just stop saying.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if like you and I were met and like we were having a conversation, all of a sudden I just spouted
singing
off in a dancing monologue, like lyrics, and you're like just standing there like, what the hell is the matter with this guy?
Like, he's extremely happy about something.
What's wrong? Hey, Fred Astaire, calm down.
I know, right? Like, yeah,
Easy.
I'm not a fan of musicals at all. I mean, the only musicals I can tolerate are like Bollywood flicks, because you kind of know that you're gonna get a musical with a whole bunch of crazy dancing and shit. So sometimes I can deal with it in those. But yeah, anything else just about Disney, all that other shit, nah.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I'm just... All due respect to the Sound of Music, I'll turn the sound off and just turn the whole thing off, please. It's not a poor taste. I've seen the Sound of Music.
Yeah.
And I respect it for being cinematically a masterpiece and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Don't care.
I'm not a fan of music.
Does nothing for me. Absolutely nothing for me. Neither does West Side Story, and I actually was in West Side Story, and I was, I just, no. So I just don't care. But what was I going with all this? I just went on a weird.
You were talking
tangent
about the
musicals.
Talking about the turtles, the coming out of our shell tour.
Oh yeah, that crap. So see what happens when I start talking. I start going off on different avenues. Anyway, fucking ADD. So yeah. She brings me to this thing. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, can we just go get McDonald's and go home, please? Or besides, we just left. We left like 15, 20 minutes in. She was like, are you sure you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to see it. And Shredder looked like not Shredder.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, that Shredder. It looked horrible. I remember he had like gold and like a gold helmet, and I was like, that's not Shredder. What did they do to Shredder?
Yeah. That's terrible. Yeah, I was not a fan of that shit at all, and none of my friends were, and no one on my block was. In school, all the kids who liked Ninja Turtles didn't like the coming out of our shell tour. I mean, I guess maybe it wasn't for us. I don't know, because apparently it wasn't
for nobody.
People are going ape shit for these toys.
But that's another thing, like you were saying.
They remember it better.
Nostalgia, people, it's false remembrance of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like they thought it was better than it actually was. It's not that great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do remember Shredder. Oh my god, he looks terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember what I remember. I just remember the helmet being like it looks.
You could see his whole face.
A totally different character. Like it just no.
He looks like a fucking Sith. That's what he looks like.
The Sith Lord.
He looks like a fucking Sith Lord. It's nuts. Wow. I
was trained by Darth Plagueis, and now I'm coming for you, turtles.
He looks terrible. Holy shit.
He had like gold and shit everywhere. I'm like,
well, this one I don't see gold, but
maybe it was the lighting.
Yeah.
Because the way it was very like yellowed lighting, and it made his helmet look kind of like gold accents and shit. And then he had like this like weird like red robe or something that he was wearing over it.
Well, he had like a purple robe with like a red sash. It just looks oof.
It just didn't look anything like Shredder.
Oof.
It looked absolutely. If you guys are listening, go Google this because you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it looks.
Oof. Shit.
It just took me right out of it as a kid because I was expecting like, whoa, turtles are going to be on stage, they're going to fight each other and put plants and jump and none of that.
Yeah,
nope.
it's wow, it's pretty bad. It is.
They're just singing bad songs and the animatronics weren't linking up with what they were singing, and it just looks like shit.
Oh man, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad, but you know, whatever. It wasn't for me though, I could say that. Now I know down the road, like years later, they did another one where they looked a little bit better, and they actually had shells and stuff. They didn't have all that. They didn't have all that. The fucking denim and shit on like they did the first time around, and the sneakers and they didn't have all that. But yeah, that was not my shit. Not at all.
Oh.
Not at all.
And like that, a lot of people still use the excuse like, "Oh, toys are for kids." I was a kid. Yeah. That shit was not for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know, because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I think that's a huge thing that I've always felt as like a kid. Like, so you know, like when a new turtle would come out, right? And you would get like all these like whack ass variants.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, I just want the core form.
Yep.
And like as a kid, you lose shit.
Yeah.
Or like Michelangelo's friggin' stupid ass nunchucks would snap if you looked at them wrong. You know. Like,
yep.
And you needed a replacement, or you needed a new figure, and you couldn't get the core turtles because they just started making like
fucking birthday turtles and
undercover shit. Donatello and
that one's not too bad.
Spaceman Leo.
Yeah,
he wasn't bad, but it's not the way the turtles look.
Exactly. Yeah, the problem for me was when they got into like fucking Farmer Donatello and fucking.
Yeah, I'm like
what?
Stop that shit.
Yeah,
stop that shit. And like General Leonardo.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And he was like in his Desert Storm camo and shit. I'm like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, I have like that. That's what I'm talking about when I say like, for real. Like I want people like, I mean they probably won't because it's YouTube, you know, and on YouTube everybody fakes the fucking positivity and shit. But like, it would be nice if they had a real discussion like, yo, we really did not like this shit. Like, don't keep on just adhering to the status quo. Be honest, the shit was whack. Like nobody liked the birthday turtles, fucking clown ninja turtle. Like get the fuck out of here. No, nobody liked that shit. Or like, man, there's so many variants that just were like, why did you do this?
Yeah,
why?
I mean, like what was it? Even the Samurai Leonardo, like Super 7's doing that, and I'm like, don't start doing that shit, please. Please don't start doing that shit.
I had that figure. The original
so did I, but I was just like,
I think I got him because just like you said, we couldn't find the regular Leonardo. Like I wanted the regular Leonardo, but he wasn't for sale anywhere. And so we found when that one came out, I'm like, he comes with swords. I want him. It's Leo. You know, he's adjacent to a ninja. He's wearing samurai gear. I'll take him. So it was good enough for me. But
and as a kid, I could never find Raphael anywhere. Like, no. He was like the hardest to find out of all the turtles.
It's kind of funny too. Like in other parts of the world, you know, how in America, Raph and Mike are like the favorites. Outside of the U.S., it's like Leo and Don.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially in my area, it was like the only original turtle that I had for the longest time was Donnie, and then I got Leo.
Yeah.
I think I had at one point all four, but I think one kid stole Raphael from me. I'm convinced of that. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And then Michelangelo, I don't know. Michelangelo, as soon as his nunchucks broke, I think I just stopped caring about Michelangelo. I was like, well, you have no weapons. You have nothing to defend yourself with. Goodbye.
That's fucked up.
So I just would kind of like team up Donnie and Leo because Donnie's staff would always stay. Like it was hard to break that thing. You had to like bend it like 8,000 times to like snap the thing finally.
You sound like you actually tried.
They were kind of wet noodly, you know.
Yeah.
They at least stood in his hand, and they stayed, you know.
Yeah.
So like those were the two I always had, and I would bring that shit everywhere. And I think that's why Donnie ended up being my favorite because he was the first turtle I got.
Yeah.
And he was the most available, so I could go back and get another one if one broke or something happened.
Yeah.
Like the soft heads on the first wave.
Yeah, I had.
I had a soft-headed Donatello. That was the only of the soft heads I had. Then they came out with the hard heads after. So
yeah, I think I managed somehow between my brother and I, we managed to get all 4 with soft heads. I think Michelangelo, we traded somebody for him. We didn't find him in the store, but like the other turtles, yeah, we got them from in the store with the soft heads for Christmas. And I got Don first, and my brother got Raphael first, and
Yep.
yeah. It was a good time. Definitely a good time to be being introduced to that new shit. But at the same time, at least those were quality figures, you know, like the design was like what we saw in the comics, and you know. So yeah, I just wanted to add that because I always hate when I hear these conversations. Like every time I watch like a podcast where they bring up Ninja Turtles, everyone talks about these shows like the show was just timeless, amazing greatness. Like it was like everything we watched in the 80s was Batman the Animated Series quality. And it's like, no, it wasn't. And even Batman the Animated Series has some bad episodes. And that's like one of the greatest animated shows of all time. Whereas like Ninja Turtles,
that's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Whereas Batman the Animated Series.
Fucking Ninja Turtles, like most of the series was terrible. Like most of the series was just oof. It was just oof.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. It was bad.
But those first,
it's like the first 5.
First, 10. I'll give them 10 episodes.
No, it's 5. It's because I have them all on a DVD by themselves.
No, I'm just saying, regardless of I understand the first 5 because I have all the VHSs still. Which don't ask me what I'm doing with those. Nothing. They're just collecting dust. But I would say the 10th episode in, still watchable, stuff like that. But when you start getting into 93 area, 92, 93, even 91.
It was before that, man. It was like the stuff that came out in 88. I think it's 88.
Solid.
That's
what I'm saying.
Solid.
That's within those first 10.
There were 5 episodes that were done by Toei Animation.
Yeah.
And they were the pilot for the entire series. I think the last episode is the one where they fight Krang. Giant Super Krang or whatever.
Yep.
And
we're inside his brain is in his stomach.
He was like, his brain is in his stomach. You ever notice
when they're crawling out of his shoulder, the head looks over and goes.
He goes during the whole thing when he's walking around, he's like when he swings at them and stuff. I'm telling you, it was great because it was weird. But at least the villains kind of felt like a threat, and it was some stuff was unsettling. Like when Shredder and Splinter finally fight, it kind of feels like, oh shit, they're legit fighting. It didn't look goofy at all. It felt like Shredder was swinging a sword at fucking Splinter's head, and they made sure it looked like it was gonna hit him in the head, and he dipped just to dodge it at the very last moment. It looked like the timing of the fighting looked like ninjas fighting. I mean, it's not perfect, but you know what I mean? You got the idea. Whereas, after that, those 5, immediately, the first episode of the regular series, it was the goofy, jokey, nonsensical, everything. And it just was why did you had such a perfect idea where you can mix all these things. I mean, it was successful. So I'm just saying this is my experience with it was that as successful as it was, when you go back and you look at it, it doesn't hold up at all. Over time, that shit didn't. It was bad then. It's even worse now.
Pizza eating, Power Puffs.
Yeah. Oof. Oh my god.
The Rex 1 stuff, like I said.
Freaking even Usagi.
Yeah. Well, I think the peak was Shredder to Splintered.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the peak, I think. But then there's other ones Neutrinos were good.
That was in the first 5.
Some of the Dimension X stuff I didn't really, I don't know. I just some of it's kind of pickery and choosy.
Yeah,
because they introduced so many new characters, and some were okay. I like some just only by design and stuff like that.
But remember, that's what I'm saying. The characters, a lot of the characters were awesome. But the I don't know, the execution of the episodes that they showed up in is questionable as fuck, because like it's just goofy nonsense, and it's like, I get it, the show has a goofy element to it because it's so weird, but it was like there was still, like, when you read the books, there's still elements of danger, you know? I mean, there's like the Archie comics. You would think from Archie it would be goofy, and like Archie was amazing. Like the whole part, I think it was called Future Tense or something like that. It was the one where they go to the future and like Leo and Mike were dead, and Raph had like a patch over his eye, and he wore a cap, and he fought with Leo's swords and his size. And then Don fought with a metal. He wore a trench coat, and he had a metal staff. And like New York was underwater mostly, and like Armagon was swimming around killing shit. Like Armagon, I want a good NECA figure of him, and they already did one in one of the loot boxes or loot crates or whatever. I need like just regular Armagon. Like they did like a video game colored version of him. I don't even remember if he was in the original like Turtles in Time. I don't remember him in that, but he could be. I didn't play Turtles in Times as much because I was poor, and I played Hyperstone Heist on the Genesis. But
I used to have to go to this place called Putt Putt, and it was
we had those.
Golf.
Yeah, we had those out in Jersey.
Yeah, and they had Turtles, the arcade game.
Yeah, the first
and
one.
And then they had X-Men right next to it. So
Yep.
though between those two, that was, I mean, I wasn't rich either. So we had to go to those places and use quarters and shit. So.
Yeah, that's how it was for us too in Atlantic City. But yeah, man, Armagon, he was dope. He's actually in they did a really cool version of him in Mutants in Manhattan. I don't know if you've ever played that. That's a really dope game that doesn't get the props it deserves. It's done by Platinum Games, and I think there was some kind of licensing issue with that because it came out, I want to say, before. It had something to do with the Nickelodeon getting the rights to the Turtles and Mirage not having the rights to the Turtles. I can't remember what it's something like, because of whoever owned the rights, the game had the wrong, how do I put this? The game had the old rights holders information on it when it was released, and then during the time that the game was out, it ended up, the rights changed hands. And so I think they pulled the game from like all the sites you could download it from. So if you have I have a physical copy. But I didn't know that anything.
Well, Armagon to me in my head is fucking horrifying.
Yeah, like it's a fucking land shark, like a legit land shark.
A little backstory here. My biggest fear in the world is sharks. So
yeah, because there's nothing you can do.
See, like the tournament fighters version.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This is true. Yeah, man. I always was like, yo, he would be a dope, like if there was a story where he gets to be the main villain, yeah, that would be dope. And they have a story where he's the main villain, and it's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I always wanted just a regular figure.
NECA needs to make like the comic version of him.
Yeah. And they could just repaint the loot box one that they did, or loot crate one. That would be perfect. I mean, that's what they did with a lot of the other NECA figures.
Yeah, like you could do like the turtle Teenage Mutant Turtle Adventures.
Yeah.
He's on one of those covers where he's like all like just looks visceral and got like cybernetics attached to him and shit, and like oh my god.
Yeah.
I think he's like holding Leo's head and shit, and like he's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just dropping F-bombs all over the place.
It's all right. Remember, since Kappa, we're supposed to be making sure that this is for adults and not for kids, so you know.
Yeah, no kids allowed.
Just big kids.
Available or allowed. Any of that stuff. Yes.
But Yeah, man. I don't know. That's my spiel on Ninja Turtles. And don't get me wrong, like I have the nostalgia feels for Ninja Turtles. But I have the nostalgia feels for mostly the comic book related shit and the stuff from the cartoon that when you saw it in the comics, they also made it cool. Like the stuff in the cartoon made him goofy and it was like, wow, I don't know if I like this guy. Like Ray Fillet, I hated him until I saw him in the Mutanimals comics. Then I was like, okay, I get it now. I didn't understand what the deal was with Ray Fillet. We had the toy before we saw him in the cartoon. And then, like, when we watched the cartoon with him, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is this supposed to be? Like, what the fuck? And then, like, you know, we read the book, and it was like the book's actually, you know, he was more of like a heroic character, you know? So, I don't know. I think the cartoon doesn't do some of these characters as much justice as people remember.
Didn't they wait? Just take one step back on Armagon for a second. Didn't NECA reveal one a while ago?
Of who? Ray Fillet?
No, Armagon.
Yeah, he was in the Loot Crate.
That's right. Oh,
yeah, Loot Crate had like some kind of weird.
Loot Crate one. Okay.
Yeah, they had some kind of like he was like a pack-in for the Loot Crate, and he was colored with the pixel pattern instead of the.
Gotcha. That's what. Yeah, just re-release him.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, that's what they need to do. I'd love it. I would love it. I'd love it because it just was a dope ass design, dope ass like scary looking motherfucker. He was just man.
It's horrifying.
But yeah, I would fucking love it.
I'm gonna have a shark nightmare tonight.
You better do some quote unquote research before you go to bed, so you'll be all right. Or watch some cartoons. Wash your eyes in some good cartoons, so you can, you know. Yeah, Ninja Turtles is one of those things. I love the series, the idea, the weirdness of it all, but the cartoon, I think some of you guys remember this thing a little bit differently from how it actually went down. I remember I went through the same thing with Transformers because I have the whole series, and then I remember like I hadn't watched it in years, and then I sat down and I watched it, and I was like, yo, this goes off the rails really fast. Like in the first season, it's like, I don't know, 5-6 episodes in, maybe a little bit more, and it just starts Carbomnia and fucking like Crimzeek and like it's all kinds of weird shit. I mean, there's good episodes in there, don't get me wrong, but like as a whole, it's not that good of a show. And then the season that came after the movie, where, you know, Rodimus Prime is doing all kinds of weird shit and he keeps on complaining about not being able to be a good leader. I'm like, dude, you just got the job. Like, you could at least try a little bit and then decide if you suck at it. It's weird, man. It's weird. It's fucking weird. There's an episode with fucking Cobra Commander in it in the future where he's selling, like, I think synthoids or something like that, and like Rodimus, Ultra Magnus, and RC all become humans. I was like, what the fuck? It sounds like I was on something when I was watching it, when I'm saying it out loud. And I remember like the FSS did, or one of those services did, like G.I. Joe sized figures of them as humans. So they were wearing costumes with their colors. And I was just like, it's the weirdest shit. Because I have Marissa Fairborn and I have Old Snake. What's his name? TJ347, I think it is. 346 or 347. He's the one who sent that to me years ago. At some point, I will do some kind of review or something of him.
TJ will be in.
What's up?
Deathbed by time.
Hopefully not. No, I'll
be in a wheelchair.
We'll all be old and shit.
Hi, my wife did the review. Okay.
Oh my god, yeah, man. It's one of those things that, like, I did a whole bunch of those figures from the FSS, and like overall they just weren't that impressive to me. So like I don't know, it was hard to keep doing the reviews on them because it was like okay, they reused almost the entire figure from this other one, and then they did it worse. Like, they used, this kind of Old Snake is pretty much Storm Shadow from Rise of Cobra. Like, that's his trench coat, and then his head is, of course, a Cobra Commander head with a hat, and then the legs are Cobra Commander legs. But it's like you can only mix and match so much before it just gets kind of redundant to even talk about all the pieces and parts anymore, So yeah, sure. I just kind of I was like, Nah. But yeah, man.
Snurf.
I know, right? Snurf. What was another show that actually G.I. Joe holds up for the most part? Like,
whoa.
For the most part.
Whoa.
Okay, that's a
come on now.
That's a dramatic whoa.
Deke?
Who? No, not that. I'm talking about Sunbow. Deke? Sunbow, not the Deke part. Deke is when it goes off the rails. The Sunbow half is where it holds up.
The more and more I watch it, the more
it holds up better than Transformers and fucking Ninja Turtles, because at least they're still military superheroes doing military superheroic shit all the time. True. It's not a whole bunch of just, they make corny jokes, don't get me wrong, while they're doing cool heroic shit. They're making these jokes and you're just like, wow. When fucking Flint said, and remember, snake is sneak spelled sideways, I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Sneak is snake spelled sideways?
Yeah, what? They were sideways when they thought of that line.
There was a lot of weed and some PCP being had at those offices. Yeah, man, because like some of the shit they say some weird shit in that show. Weird shit.
Bro. You ever think like sneak, right? And you think of like snake on its side would be sneak.
I know, you turn it sideways.
Dude,
and like,
you need to put that in there. That's a really good idea. Bro, put that in the script. That was the dialogue that day at the Joe headquarters.
That's what it sounded like. I mean, it was just one of those things where like maybe when they were drinking and they said that shit, it was hilarious. But then you put it in a kid's show and the kids grow up and listen to it, they're going to be like, like maybe you shouldn't have done that. Like, maybe maybe skip that one. But yeah. They had their weird shit, don't get me wrong, but like overall it was like comic book stories but like condensed for animation, of the time. Because back in those days we didn't get like gory G.I. Joe comics, and we didn't get like like things were implied but you didn't really see all the stuff, you know what I mean? Not like it is now. Now you see people getting full on blown the fuck away. Cobra Commander got shot in the head in the one Chuckles book and shit. Like, you see all this stuff. It's intense. Whereas back then it was just action hero shit. And they pretty much kept that tone throughout the series, but there are some episodes where you're just like, this is weird. Like the ones where most of the ones that are like revolving around like a relationship. You know what I'm talking about? Like the one where fucking Roadblock saved that chick who was like stowed away on a Cobra fucking truck. Her name was like Tallulah or some bullshit. She was like real
Tallulah.
She was like
Sounds
real
like a $2 hooker. And then he goes, that's my mom's name. God, nothing gets better than Cool Runnings. I love it.
Yeah, I love
Psycho
that movie.
Man, what you smoking? Nothing, I'm breathing.
I'm breathing, man. Yeah, man, I love that movie. But yeah, it was so weird. Like, so many of the episodes would relate. Like, there was the one where Quick Kick meets that chick in like a karate tournament or something, and then all of a sudden she's helping them infiltrate Cobra bases and she doesn't get killed. I'm like, okay. All right. Or the one where Shipwreck meets a mermaid that was like an experiment with Cobra or some shit. You know what I'm talking about? There was like a legit.
So it's a big blur.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Be honest with you.
I just remember because I watched these fairly recently with my younger son, and I remember like after we tried to watch all the other shit, we were like, okay, let's try G.I. Joe, and it actually wasn't terrible. Like we laughed most of the time because there's a lot of cheesy shit, but like the action's really good, and in most episodes, and the animation is pretty it's pretty good across the board. But anyway, this was like the longest fucking tangent ever.
That's what we do.
I know, right? Off our brains.
We are the Tangent Crew.
Let's see what else. Masterverse. Did you look at the Masterverse stuff?
Oh yeah.
Where they're doing they're doing Shadow Weaver. They're doing the God version of Evil
Shadow Weaver.
Oh.
Take me to the night.
I thought you were gonna stop.
Singer.
I was like, I thought he was gonna stop before he got to the little high part. And he's like, nope, I'm going all the way through.
I'm going all.
I'm committed. Yeah, they're doing Godwin.
I'm like a never mind. I just won't go there. That's a little steep. I just won't go there. Never mind. Go. Continue.
They're doing what's his name? Fuck. Manny Faces. But he looks really good too. Like, I mean, you can tell what they reused from other characters, but overall, he looks dope. I'm really geeked.
Faces.
I've never had a Manny Faces toy. Never.
I just got the retro collection one.
Yeah, I haven't
That
even
one's
messed
pretty
with
good.
those. I haven't messed with most of those. I've been my son likes them, but I haven't messed with those.
They're making my boy New Adventures of He-Man. I don't care, haters. Suck it.
Yeah, that's all you.
Yeah, it is. And I know that. See, I know that's my guilty pleasure right there.
That's all you. That's another one.
It is.
At some point, I don't know why I just got fucking stuffed up like that. Shit. I wish it was because I was smoking something, but I'm not.
You just breathe in.
I'm just breathing. No, I have that whole, or I used to have the whole series for the New Adventures because I remember the intro being really cool. So I was like,
you gave it to me.
Yeah, I did give it to you. I forgot. Yeah, I had that, and I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is nothing like what I remember.
No.
It was nothing.
I will say this: Skeletor. That's my Skeletor.
He's funny as hell. He's fucking hilarious.
I love that. I love that design for Skeletor.
Oh, the fucking the classics version really did that. Yeah.
Oh, they nailed it to a T. I think that's the best Skeletor. To be honest.
Yeah. Maybe.
I think that's what it is.
Mine is still the movie ones.
It really is.
Mine are still the movie ones.
What, the Super 7 one?
Yeah, the movie one, like this.
Oh, you can't compare that to the Super 7 one.
Yeah. I mean, they were all sculpted by the Horsemen, so, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll still take my New Adventures. Although I will give it to what's his name that played Skeletor in that movie. That motherfucker tried.
Yeah, man. Frank Langella did the damn thing. Shit, I'm gonna go get something to drink. Hold on, I gotta get some water. I'll be back. All right. So we can continue. I think for the rest of the for the rest of the video, my voice is gonna be all fucked up. So whatever.
Fight the good fight.
Yeah. So, Motu Masterverse shit. Shit. They're doing another Sorceress, which looks pretty good. it's clearly the version from Revelation, so
Yeah.
that's not too bad. It looks good. And the good thing about
the
these,
what was it, God Evelyn or whatever?
yeah, they're doing Godland as well. I think that's such a cheesy Godland.
Godland.
It's so lame, but you know, some people like the design. I don't mind it. It's just like it's such a one-time thing that it's kind of like,
Exactly. Sorry, I'm
No, you're good.
moving dishes.
They got Pig Boy. They got I don't really care about Pig Boy. I don't really like all of the villains, but there's a nice couple, you know, villains that I really do want to have. They're doing the fucking Eternia playset, which is nuts because we saw that.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time. Remember when we were at the convention? The fucking the first time we went to the toy show, the Columbus Toy Show. It was either the first or the second time.
It was the first time, I think, because someone bought a Defiant.
Yeah.
And when we were walking in, he was walking out with the Defiant, and I was like, "Fuck you, dude."
I remember that. Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, I couldn't believe it because you almost never see that thing. You know what I mean? Like, and then you finally see it, and some dude was just like, kind of the way I was carrying the MCC when I got that. He's just walking around. He's just nonchalant, like walking around with this big ass, you know, fucking Defiant. And it's like, damn, man, we've been looking for that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I didn't even know Eternia existed. I saw pictures of the original set before we had ever seen it in person. The original one. So I just thought it was one of those prototypes that they never really did anything with. But apparently, there's people who own that shit, like who have had that from childhood.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, okay.
Crazy and elaborate. And the one that they revealed here is, I guess, a lot larger than the original.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be the retro collection scaled, and I can't even imagine $600. I don't know. Who knows? But the way prices are ridiculous nowadays.
Well, but for the Masterverse stuff, the prices have been pretty reasonable. Because like Eternia is not even $100. I think when it came out, it was like 70 or something like that.
Well,
so I mean, not Eternia. I'm sorry, Castle Grayskull. It wasn't even $100. It was like 80 or 70 something, 75, 78 or something like that.
Supposedly, they said at 5 or 6.
Well, wait, what happened? It broke up for a sec.
So at the booth, they said the equivalent of this Eternia is like 5 or 6 Gray Skulls, maybe 7.
No.
Yes, that's how big this thing is, dude.
But it doesn't even look like that.
Like, look at one of the. It's big. I'm telling you.
It doesn't. I don't know. I can't. From these pictures, I can't tell.
Look at it. Look.
Let me see.
Look at the figures and then look at the Eternia.
I guess.
I'm telling you, it's huge.
It's tall.
It's big. I'm telling you, it's
the main tower is very tall. I can see that. It's like 5 figures tall, but like all together, it's just like if you cut. If the center, like where the skull on Grayskull was huge, and then you cut it into thirds, because you just have 3 towers, you know what I mean? But I guess it does look like that main tower, though, is going to take up a lot of fucking space. That's going to be a big box.
Yeah, a huge. Well, the box might not actually.
Oh, for that tower? Because I don't see where the tower separates, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that tower might.
Yeah.
The main.
Well,
one.
no, not that. You know, I'm talking about like I'm stammering. I know.
It's okay. The excitement is real.
Just certain pieces like the tower on the left and then the snake tower on the right. Those are be The tracks are probably gonna be
Yeah,
kind of like
put them together. Yeah,
kind of like how Mattel does with the like Hot Wheels tracks and stuff like that.
yeah.
But that center piece, yeah, that's
It's gonna be huge.
box.
Yeah, that's gonna be huge. I wonder if they're gonna sell it all in parts. Like,
Yeah,
are they gonna
I don't know what
sell
they're
like
gonna
each tower separately, or is Eternia gonna be the whole?
It's probably
thing?
gonna be the whole thing. It's it's gonna be ridiculously priced. Like I've heard some people say like $900, and I'm like, that's fucking way too much. First of all, that's a terrible.
It doesn't fit with the way they've been doing everything. That's why I think it's gonna be separate towers, and then you combine the towers once you have all three. That would fit with their strategy, with the way they've been doing everything else. I just
Well, it's also going to be a Mattel Creations release.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Not going to be retail.
I didn't know that. I thought it was retail.
So it's going to guarantee it because it's going to be crowdfunded.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jesus, they're jumping on that too. Fuck.
They've been doing it. They did it with the WWE Elite ring.
That ring, yeah. Fuck, man. God, stop bandwagoning. God, do your own thing. That hurts my heart. That really hurts my heart. But whatever.
To me, it makes my life a lot easier. I don't need a fucking attorney. I got no one.
Yeah, no, I don't want it. I don't even want attorney because I have nowhere to put it. But you know, like for me, I never, in my mind, like I don't even get what that is. Like Eternos Palace, I need that. What the fuck is this? Like I know it comes from the older books, but like it doesn't even fit in like I don't know, it just doesn't fit in what I remember of, you know, Motu. Like Eternia is the planet. Eternos Palace is the big, you know, the is where Prince Adam and his family are. It's where it's the royal family's palace. Castle Eternia, like, you know, like it's like it doesn't feel like it's as necessary as Snake Mountain or, you know, the Castle Grayskull, things like that. It just feels like
I'd rather have Snake Mountain.
Yeah, like have the good guy's castle and the bad guy castle, you know, and call it a day. Did you see your boy?
That's all you need.
They're doing a retro or Origins version of your boy New Adventures He-Man, and they're doing fucking 2000X. They're doing 2000X too. No. I'm talking about in addition to the Masterverse, they're also doing the Origins. Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty nice.
They're doing what you call it, Snake Armor too.
Yeah, I saw that one sitting in the middle of the Eternia playset. Yeah, it's cool. They're really going all in on this. It's pretty dope. What I like though is that like, so with classics, you had so many of the figures came out, and you had the whole what was it called, Club Eternia, and all that, and you had the Matty Collector stuff that you had to essentially be part of that to really get the deals to get those figures at a reasonable price. And so a lot of people who didn't subscribe and don't you know, we don't get down like that, we just missed out until you could find them in some kind of alternative way. Now you have the Masterverse stuff, and there's this weird, like, you know, there's the kind of elitist collectors that are like, it doesn't look good, it's garbage, it's ugly, and it's like, okay, fine, I'm glad you don't like it, because guess what, I can afford it, and I can actually find it in the store. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm gonna get it, because like they look the part. I mean, people say what they want to say, they look the part, and they have modern articulation, which is what I'm complaining about for like Mythic Legions and some other lines, you know. And they come with enough accessories so you can do all the things you could do with the classics.
Also can't, they can't disassociate the show from the figures. I feel like that's a major thing that a lot of butthurt, fanboy, 45 to 50-year-old men can't let go of. I'm just going to come out and say it. Some of you guys out there are really butthurt over that series, which really wasn't all that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And B, the figures are the selling.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I like what I'm seeing. I'm ready to get them. I was like, when I was able to find Fisto in the store multiple times, I was like, yo, I'm kind of happy that this exists, because now there's characters that I can finally go out and get, and I don't have to like spend $400 or $300 like they're asking for with the fucking classics version, which I would love to have, but I'm not paying fucking $300 or $400 for one fucking figure. Out of your goddamn mind. It's no fucking way. Just no way. And it's not that I can't. I refuse. You know what I mean? There's a difference. Like, I've been collecting for a long fucking time. Like, if I want to get something, I'll get it. I'll save the money and I'll go get it if I have to save the money. You know what I mean? Or I'll sell one of my older figures and get the fucking new thing. But I'm not going to. It doesn't make sense to waste that much money when you could get so many other things. Like, why would you spend all the money on that?
Misa don't know.
Oh my god, it's so strange. What else?
Killed it.
Huh? It was silent on my end.
Oh, sorry. Mattel WWE.
Oh yeah, I know. I forgot.
They had a really good booth. The RAW, which to me is the true new generation entranceway. The Raw entranceway, they're releasing that, which is fantastic. It's going to come out in a 3-pack with a new generation Undertaker, Razor Ramon, and the Ultimate.
Jesus Christ! I keep losing you back and forth.
Oh, here, let me. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you sound good.
Can you hear me now?
I know, good.
Okay.
I'll finally be able to get a Rob Van Dam. Shit.
What's that?
I said I'll finally be able to get a Rob Van Dam.
Oh yeah. They're coming out with, I think, 2 different versions of him.
Yeah.
So, that's available. The Ultimates line is doing really well. It's finally regaining traction from kind of dwindling for a little bit. They started doing modern wrestlers and they weren't selling well. Good Lord.
Big surprise.
But, yeah, I wonder why. But the Raw logo, or the Raw entrance for the new generation's coming out in that 3-pack with Undertaker, Razor, and 1-2-3 Kid. Oh, actually, Lightning Kid was his original name, but that's coming out. And what else? There was something else I wanted to talk about as far as the wrestling stuff goes. Don't care about modern wrestlers.
Oh, the WCW stuff looks good.
The WCW stuff looks pretty good. They're coming out with like kind of I believe a quasi Nitro entrance.
Yeah, looks good. It's really good.
So that'll be really cool if they do anything remotely close to some of the diorama pieces that they showed off. That'll be fantastic. The WCW logo is a part of a Build-A-Figure collect and connect, whatever you want to call that thing.
Jesus.
So that'll be part of the Build-A-Figure series. And
who's that chick? Is that Sable?
Where? No, that's Stacy Keibler.
Oh shit.
That's the Keibler.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. Mrs. Legs.
Mrs. Legs, I know, right? I was like, shit, okay.
They're coming out with a new Shawn 2 Ken Shamrocks. And that Shawn is actually from his 92, when he actually beat the British Bulldog for the IC title for the first time. So.
Cool.
But, yeah, lots of good stuff from them.
But, yeah, so you were saying, you were talking about Shawn Michaels, and then you were talking about you're talking about the Build-A part. Build-A title, Build-A logo, build a logo,
WCW stage, entranceway, So 92 Sean, where you beat British Bulldog, is coming out, and they actually got the boots right, which I was surprised because they keep mucking his boots up. But the Ultimate Sean that just came out, I just shot a review of that. That shit is fucking damn fire. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love that figure. It's by far the best Shawn Michaels that's ever been released.
Like the look or the actual engineering.
He nails literally every category. He comes with the proper entrance attire. He's accurate. He comes with a open mouth, screaming face that actually looks better than the neutral face, which never happens usually. It actually looks more like Sean with the open mouth than it does with the closed mouth. So it's just really well done shit. So they just nailed it. The cloth goods for the pants, the overall just look, the articulation, range of motion, all that stuff. It's a 10 out of 10. I love that figure.
The Ken Shamrocks look just like it. Crazy as fuck.
I know. Dude, their face sculpts have gotten so much better. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, they look good. They look really good. Yeah, I'm surprised, man, because like some of these figures, like the Scott, not Scott Hall, but what's his name, Diesel. It looks just like freaking Nash. Kevin Nash.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they've gotten really good. It's funny, it's as if like the old team just came back. Because you remember there was a point in time where there was like a team that was working on these. I don't know if it was when David Vonner was still working for Mattel, but it was a point in time where the faces looked really good. They didn't quite have all the articulation, but it was when the elites were just starting. And they just looked the part. Everybody looked like, even if they didn't look exactly like themselves because they didn't do the face scan, they got the essence right. So like a lot of the characters looked the part. They had the right gear. You know, the parts just felt, I don't know, something about them felt more like whoever's working on these figures actually loves this shit. And then there was a period where all of a sudden all that shit disappeared. Like the people started looking like the old Jakks Pacifics wrestlers where their bodies would be all weird and shit. And like they just didn't look right. Something was missing, and I couldn't really tell what it was. Like then they started making those I don't remember if they were called elites or if they were called ultimates. They started doing those. Remember they did like Ronda Rousey, and they did like the Ultimate Warrior, and they did that's the Ultimate line for Mattel. Yeah. And they started, it's like after they started doing those, they got a second wind or something, and they started being like, oh shit, we can actually do this better. And they started making the sculpts more accurate. The faces look more legit. The colors are better. The attire's more on point. It's as if they actually used reference. I don't know if they weren't before, but like, they started doing that shit and it actually looked good. Yeah. It's crazy, man. You'd think this would have just been the way to do it from the beginning. Like, why didn't you just do this from the giddy up?
Yeah, but they're doing a really good job, especially with that, because there was definitely that lull. I want to say about 2 years ago when they came out with like the Bray Wyatt figure, and Ronda Rousey was peg warming. Even though they look great, like
no one was buying them. Yeah, they didn't care.
Nobody gives a shit. Guess who sells? Ric Flair sells.
Yeah,
Ultimate Warrior sells. Hulk Hogan sells. Shawn Michaels sells. Stone Cold, The Rock, those sell. Put those are the characters that should be in the Ultimates line, because they have so many different attires that you can work with.
Yeah.
And you could actually keep rotating them.
Yep. And
people will buy them. Like, they're going to buy them.
Yeah.
Because they have so many different attires. Like, it's insane.
I agree.
And you can do so. But yeah, Mattel's doing a really good job. They've gotten progressively better and better.
It's like they had a real crazy fucking second wind. Did you see the 2-pack they did with fucking Rip and Zeus from No Holds Barred?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
And it's in like the VHS packaging.
Yeah,
like, it looks great.
Yeah, it's like they're looking at NECA.
So
they looked at NECA and they were like, oh shit, we could do this too.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. Yeah, I cracked up. They got fucking Zeus with his fucking almost cross eyes and shit. Like, it was amazing. I was like, wow, this is.
He used to like punch his chest.
Yeah, this shit was awesome, man. It looks good. I was like, this is quality. I mean, I'm not gonna get it because fuck Hulk Hogan, but you know. or as the I think it was the Warrior that used to say it, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. I always used to think he was saying Kogan. Hulk Hogan.
But yeah, man, they're doing some magical shit now. It's weird because like I remember going to the aisle where the wrestling figures were, and I would just get them for goons because they looked so shitty that it was like, oh, I need some guys in suits, and I just pick up, you know, a couple 2-packs of some dudes in suits and just be like, yeah, that's good enough. You know what I mean? Because they just look the part for the goons. But like now you're seeing the personalities come out and like. Yeah. I don't know. They just look like the figures have life to them now, which is pretty dope. That's the way it should have always have been, but you know, it's dope to see that.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. Can we? I mean, Black Series didn't really do anything.
Yeah, there wasn't too many. There really wasn't too many.
I wasn't impressed with that Black Series. I don't know what's going on with the Black Series line, but they're really dropping the ball lately, like severely. Like all they released at San Diego Comic-Con was like a Boba Fett, a Grogu, which we've already got in his carriage. What was it? Those stupid ass like Halloween themed Star Wars figure. Like what the fuck are you guys doing over there? What are you thinking? Who wants that shit?
You'd be surprised.
Nobody wants that. Stop it. Whoever's running that needs to just run something else.
Yeah, I agree.
Put them on My Little Pony or whatever. I know My Little Pony's not Hasbro, but put them somewhere else.
I know what you mean.
Whoever they are. I don't know who they are, but they don't need to be on that line.
Yeah. I mean, it's strange because there's like little things they're doing well. Like the Casca Reeves figure looks cool because the version on the classic card back, I don't know what the fucking difference is anymore. I don't care.
They just changed the color scheme.
Yeah, they changed the color scheme slightly, and she's like, they're both her and Bo-Katan are like, their suits look worn. I have the regular ones, but these suits look like dirty kind of and whatnot. And it's like, okay, I get it, but like that's it. And it's like, why didn't you just do that to begin with? I mean, I know they love to iterate for the sake of iteration. You know what I mean? So you can have like 10 figures on the fucking, you know, pegs, which I don't know. It's just dumb. It's just too much for me. I mean, like.
Well, I think they've got lazy because they just know Star Wars will sell regardless.
Yeah, like the weird fucking Mando that they did with the fucking neon.
Yeah, like
what is that? What the fuck is this?
And they're charging like $35 for a regular basic ass Boba Fett. Like, what the what's going on over there?
I can lick the back of my ball sack.
What the fuck?
Like, what the hell is that?
They're like, here's throne room Boba Fett with no throne.
Yeah,
it's for like $35. Yeah, man, and I'm like, what?
It's like, get your whole ass
that one
the
right
fuck
up your
out
dick
of
hole. I want nothing to do with that shit.
Yeah, it's bad. It's yeah, I don't get it. But you know, I always cherry picked from the Black Series anyway. And I have most of the characters that I was really, you know, wanting in the first place. So
I will say this: Classifieds did pretty well.
I don't even remember. I don't think I even looked at them at SDCC. So let me take a look real quick.
So they're coming out with 82 Stalker.
Why?
Well, he's swivel arm. Because apparently there's a lot of Stalkers that are just falling apart at this point. and he's very
you're talking
hard
about
to get.
the legit classic Stalker.
Yes,
gotcha.
O-ring Stalker. Yeah,
O-ring.
82 Stalker.
Gotcha. I thought you meant like the style.
I love me some Stalker, and I had him as a kid, and yeah, he fell apart.
I don't know. I'm tired of that. You know how many times we've in our life, you know how many times since you and I have become friends, we've been like, I had him as a kid, and I want to get him again. You and I have both. We've said that shit so many times. I'm just kind of like, yo, Hasbro, do something else. Do something else.
True.
They do that shit. I mean, like, I legit have like 5 or 6 fucking Stalker figures by now, and I'm like, I know these aren't all classic because I'm not big into the classic ones, but still, I have like a bunch of Stalker figures. I'm still trying to get the one from it's not even that great of a figure, but I want to finish that. I want him and Beachhead from Resolute. And then I'm done going back and getting all those guys. But yeah, it's just like it's the same characters over and fucking over
and over and over, yeah.
And fucking over. It's like, come on, you can do more than this. Let's do more.
They did. Let's dive into the elephant in the room.
Uh-oh.
The piss tank.
I don't know. I saw it and I was like, oh, of course. It was only a matter of time. You know, because people were saying, they were asking for this before the line had even come out. People were like, yo, we want a 6-inch scale, you know, vamp, and we want to, you know, if they do a vamp, they're going to have to do a fucking his tank. And if they do a his tank, then they're going to have to do a fucking brawler or a fucking
Mobat.
A Mobat, yeah. And it's like, you know, and if they do the Mobat, then they're going to have to do something bigger. And it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're going to ask for more and more and more money. And, you know, it's going to get to a point where it's going to be a little bit ridiculous. And no one's thinking ahead. They're just like, yo, more shit. I'm like, dude, you guys are all getting older. Some of you are pushing 50, some of you are pushing 60. Like, come on. You can't take all this shit with you. You got to collect responsibly. This is kind of ridiculous at this point. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe some people just have a ton of space and they can afford all that. I can't. I don't have the space for all that shit.
Yeah. I initially have already made a video talking about the his tank. I just wish they would have done something different. It's just the same old shit again. You know, if they would have gone an entire new design, like scrap everything, let's start this puppy from top to bottom. It's $300, comes with 4 figures, all new design.
Yeah.
I probably would be on it. The price doesn't really throw me off because of it does come with a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. It comes with 4 figures. It comes with, you know, the missile launchers, which are detachable. It comes with which I hate. Fuck tier 2, by the way. What are we doing? We catering to the crybabies.
What was tier 2?
I want my original canopy that's lame and boring and, you know, and then the side panels they're changing to make it look more vintage. I can't stand that shit. Just
the vintage purists.
If you're sticking to your guns on a new design, like you already went with the original design essentially, and you changed side panels and a gull wing canopy, like just stick with that at least, and just give us something else. That was just lame.
Yeah.
So, the extra guns, I don't mind that. I mean, it's cool. I hate working treads. I loathe them. I think it's a huge waste of money, and I think they deteriorate and they break. Think of like a rubber band. You keep a rubber band out stretched, what happens? Snap, it breaks.
Snaps eventually, yeah.
And then what? You got no treads on your fucking $300 tank.
This is true.
So, I don't know. Personally, I don't like that. I don't think this thing needed any sort of lights. it's just unnecessary stuff that you're spending money on to make it something unique. Honestly, which it's not all that unique.
If I had the money, and I said this years ago, I would have been spending my money. If I still collected 12-inch figures, I would have been spending the money on those 12-inch Sideshow Joes that they did back in the day, because those were like the perfect medium between like the old school and then an update. So like, you know, you had your green berets with the like the 80s camo, 80s jungle camo and shit, you know, for Falcon. You had your, you know, rock and roll being in like an 80s style army machine gunner and shit, and like they looked so good. The expressions had so much personality, and like the gear just looked so official because it's the 12-inch scale stuff, you know. Like they go pretty hard on like all the details when it comes to the 12-inch figures. Fucking Beachhead, like they did like the unmasked Beachhead, and he has this expression on his face like what'd you say to me, like just in his eyes, you know what I mean, like the way his eyebrows are going. And I was so tempted to get him and Stalker way back in the day. I just never saw them for reasonable prices. I saw them when they first dropped, you know, they were like 100 something, and I was like, shit. And then like the next time I looked, it was like 200, 300, 400. I'm like, yeah, can't do it.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get Flint and Dusty, and that's it. That's all I got from that line. I just couldn't find anything else, and I got those for $100 a piece.
Damn.
So those were $100 a piece. At like this, what was it? When I went to Colorado years ago.
Gotcha.
Back in 2018, I got those, and I found them in like some local comic shop. I think it was one I found at Mile High Comics, and the other one I found at this, I can't remember the name of it, but it was another comic shop in Colorado, in Denver.
Cool.
But yeah, those are the only two. But I agree, man. Those were like the versions that they should almost be doing in this line.
Exactly.
Like you look at Dusty in this line, and I'm like, he looks boring.
Yeah, he does.
Like he looks so boring. He has no gloves. Like he's got. Like, he's just the most basic design that you could do. I don't know. I don't like this nostalgia taking over the whole line because you I don't know. It's just.
That's what I complain about all the time. It's too much of that, not enough innovation. You know, like, I love how they updated Spirit, because they did exactly what I was saying. Like, they got rid of the stupid arrow shooting sniper rifle. And they gave him...
I call that the racist rifle.
I know, right? And it caused all kinds of problems because people didn't want to admit that it was. It's like, it's dumb. I get it. He's Native American. Why don't you just give him a fucking bow and arrow and call it a day? They actually use those. Like, instead you give him a fucking sniper rifle that shoots arrowheads. What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's terrible.
It's so stupid. And so, like, you know, looking at this toy, like, he's one of the ones, like, I genuinely got excited when I saw him because I didn't even think about Spirit, and then I saw him and I was like, shit, I can make him in fucking Storm Shadow fight like back in the day, like I do with the small ones. You know, I remember like there was a scene in the Pyramid of Darkness, I think it's the Pyramid of Darkness, where when their rivalry first started, and Spirit, they get washed down like the fucking waterfall or something, and like Spirit gets up and he's talking to Freedom, and he's like, I feel another presence. And then Storm Shadow in his fucked up ass voice is like, that presence feels you as well. I'm like, oh my god, it's so bad.
Speaking of fucked up voices, when Spirit hums and haws, I get bright eyed. I'm like, whoa. When he's like, I'm like, oh my god, why? Why did they get away with this shit?
Yeah. It was weird. It was weird because it was like they could have just made it accurate. He could have actually, like, you know, done something that was specific to his tribe and everything, and we'd been like, oh shit, is that legit? Or the people who do belong to the tribe that are watching would be like, oh shit, that's like legit, whichever, you know, whatever language it is that, you know, for which specific tribe he belongs to. And then we would have been like, okay, cool, they did their research. Instead, it was the generic, like, you know. But either way, the design of of his figure is a perfect update. Because it's like,
I still like Pursuit of Cobra better.
Oh, I do too. But I'm saying, like, in keeping with the look that reminds you of the classic figure.
Yeah,
they did a good job where his shirt is a legit shirt. The pants are regular BDU pants, or, you know, the Joe style BDU pants. They're just the colors match the old colors. And then the glove, the Falconer's glove for his for Freedom,
yes.
That's dope. The knife, the iron knife, like Spirit's iron knife, is actually nice looking and shit compared to the regular one. Like, they did all the things that you need to do to make him look legit. They also did that with what's the old guy's name? Outback. They did the same thing with him too, and it's like, so if you could do it with
that Tiger Force Outback, I might actually get. And you know how much I can't stand Tiger Force.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a fan at all.
That, and I think the Rakondo makes sense for Rakondo.
Yeah, like if there were Joes that were always Tiger Force.
Yep.
That would have been cool.
Those two make sense.
Yeah. But yeah, like, those are updates. That's how you do the update. But like Dusty, no, they didn't do it right.
Yeah, no,
they did not do it right.
Really screwed. And you know how excited I was for them to reveal that we're getting a Dusty to begin with, and then when I saw him, I'm like,
nope.
Okay, I guess I'll make one out of a Valaverse figure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and Dusty's that's your dude. I mean, it's like
that's my guy.
Yeah,
and they screwed the pooch on that one. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't, like I said, I'm not really looking for that much. Over the last couple years, there's only a few things that have gotten me, like, all in, and it's mostly, McFarlane shit, and it's Masterverse stuff, because there's a lot of characters that I wanted, but I just wrote them off because I couldn't afford them, because, you know, the prices just got stupid with them from the classics. And then, you know, also, at one point, we were talking about this, you and I, when we were talking about the King Grayskull figure, the new one. The new figures have articulation, whereas the classics were still that old shit, that fucking DC Direct style articulation.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, I love my DC Direct figures because they were sturdy and they looked the part. They always represented some artist's take on whatever the character was. But the fucking articulation was atrocious on those figures, man. Like, there were times where I could get them to do certain things, like you could figure out ways to make them, you know, double hand their broadswords and shit like that, you know. But like, it always felt like you were gonna break their legs if you try to force them to do a split or kick higher or stand with a really wide stance, you know. Stuff like that they should just be able to do. It felt like I'm forcing it. And when you look at the way that the hip was designed, the outside top of the hip, it's pushing against the upper portion of their crotch area, which bends the barbell. So the more you do it, the more slack it's going to get, because you're forcing you're putting pressure on the barbell that holds the legs in, you know. And I was just like, it just feels like it wasn't. Actually, I don't think it's even a barbell. I think it's a it's like a hinge joint. It's like a
for the classics.
For the classics,
legs. Yeah. And they always had loose joints, like straight out of package, man.
I always had loose ankles. Everything else seemed fine.
Ankles and like the hips. Some of the hips on those suck.
Yeah, I've been lucky. I didn't have
wobble all over the place.
I didn't have any bad hips. Just the ankles. But like, there's certain lines, like I wouldn't mind if they use those bucks for Thundercats, like they've been doing with Super 7, as long as they stay consistent with the quality of the bucks. The problem is Super 7 is super inconsistent with the quality of their bucks. So like, I have the Lion-O that they did because I pre-ordered him forever ago, and I'd forgotten about it. Remember, you were gonna get Panther, or maybe you got Panther. I can't remember.
No, I did. I canceled it.
Oh, yeah. I pre-ordered him back then when you mentioned Panther, because I was like, okay, if there's two of them that I'm gonna get, it's gonna be them. And then somehow
I'm pretty sure those are still available.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Those have not been selling well.
Yeah, and they're not expensive either. The price hasn't been going up on them. And I really dig. I have to give them props for their Mumra because he's ginormous, and it looks like they put a lot into him. So it's like if you get the mummified Matty Collector Mumra and then get the giant Super 7 one, you've covered all the bases. You've got the best Mumra you could possibly get. But yeah, it's, I don't know, the Masterverse stuff. I just love the fact that they updated their articulation. The designs look fucking accurate to the Revelation, and to some degree to the old cartoons, and somewhat even 2000X in some cases. Like there's aspects of the characters that are on, more prevalent on the 2000X versions, and then they're also like that on the Masterverse stuff. And it's just the fact that you can get those characters, and they come with alternate hands and alternate, some of the weapons they have from multiple eras, and then I don't know, they just, to me, they're really great. So yeah, I haven't really been looking for that much, but yeah, McFarlane fucking killing it. I haven't had any issues, and I'm kind of annoyed with the amount of nonsense that I hear people say about McFarlane. I'm like, just say you don't want to collect them, and then shut up and go on about your business.
Just shut up.
Like,
don't shut up.
Stop with they don't have.
That's fine if you want to make a note that you don't like this, but then to continue to bitch and piss and moan your pants about it, it's just.
It's ridiculous. Like, they have no articulation. No, you mean they don't have a thigh swivel, not a traditional thigh swivel.
But yeah, guess what? They're not made by Hasbro, so they're not going to have a Hasbro thigh swivel.
Yeah, they're not going to be flopping around at the thigh after a couple times of posing. Like they stand up a little bit. Now the ankles is a different story for most of the figures, and those ankles are annoying. But they've been putting better detents in there so that they actually ratchet when they move, so they stand up a little bit better. Do they have work that's needed? Yeah, there's some work that they can do. Like my Dr. Fate from Black Adam, his hands were really stiff at the wrists, so I had to put them in the fridge. At first I tried just heat, but it didn't work, so I had to use cold, and then I froze him for a little bit. When I took him out and turned the wrist, it popped the joint loose. Like whatever paint was stuck up in there, he could actually move. And then his symbol on the front half of his cape is crooked. Like it was attached, it was glued kind of crooked. Little things like that pop up from time to time. But overall, fucking Owlman looks phenomenal. Fucking Superwoman is phenomenal. I have no issues with their paint. And with her, she has those tiny little strings crossed around her legs, for her shoes. And it's clean as fuck. You don't have black splotches all over the place, and I really don't get how they pull that off, but they did it, and it looks great. So
I gotta say this about McFarlane: that fucking Orm and that goddamn Deathstroke look phenomenal.
I don't know. I don't care about the Deathstroke for some reason. He looks good, but that's the plainest, worst design next to the initial New 52 Forever Evil Deathstroke. Do you remember the one I'm talking about? You remember when I think Rob Liefeld was drawing Deathstroke?
Yeah.
And he had all the fucking.
Well, they can't give him guns.
Yeah, I know.
So therefore, there's no rifle holster. There's no thigh holster. There's just a sword and a dagger, and he looks like he's a diver. But
that's exactly what my mind went to. That old. Remember the torpedo I think you sent me?
Yes.
That's what he reminds me of. That 90s torpedo with the fucking hot pink or hot orange paint on him. That's exactly where my mind went. But, I mean, it's a cool looking figure. I'm not going to diss him. But, yeah, it's still so plain, It's, super fucking plain.
Yeah, I think he's kind of a victim of circumstances there, so I'll give him a pass.
Yeah, true.
True. But the Ocean Master Orm looks top notch.
Yeah, he looks great.
I've always loved Ocean Master's design. He looks fantastic.
Yeah, that creepy ass helmet. It's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I cannot wait for a Black Manta out of them.
Yeah,
I am eagerly waiting for a really good Black Manta. So,
well, the last one Mattel did was actually really nice.
Yeah,
The last
did a
one,
good job.
the movie one, it was fucking, oh my god,
like stellar. I'm glad I got that. Like all the intricate details and the hoses and the backpack and the head is perfect.
The thrusters and everything. Yeah, I'm glad we got both versions. I got the kiddie version for Little Strident, and I got the big one for myself. And like the details are just so like it's on par with the one that was supposed to come out from Mafex, and I don't know if they ever released that one. I know they did Mara, and I know they did Arthur, but I don't know if they did Black Manta. I don't remember, but I have pictures of what it was supposed to look like, and it looked great. But then I saw the one that Mattel did, and I was like, there's not that much of a difference here. So, yeah, I stuck with that one. But yeah, if they do one like a comic book style one, or maybe they'll do the new movie. They will do the new movie when it comes out, and his suit looks really awesome in that. So that's just one you got to put on your list because it's gonna be quality.
Yep.
The fucking Bane figure. Bane looks.
He's about to drop within the next week or so.
Yeah, I got him pre-ordered. They just sent me a They sent me a notification. I think it was either this morning or yesterday about him. And Necron, Jesus Christ, Necron looks amazing. Like that's like something McFarlane was born to make. I'm surprised he didn't make that design in the comics anyway. Like
Darkest Night should be he would go nuts with that.
But yeah, it's pretty damn dope. I was kind of impressed about that.
Blackest Night. What the hell am I talking about?
Yeah,
my brain is. I need to hydrate.
No, I knew what you were talking about. I'm with you. But yeah, he looks good. Talon looks really good. I don't even like the Court of Owls, and I might actually get that Talon figure. I gotta replace the crappy the DC collectibles one I have. It's fucking falling apart. I swear, so many of my DC collectibles figures, and it's weird because they're not that old. So many of them are falling apart at the joints specifically because of that clear plastic shit.
Yeah, some of them aren't even 10 years old.
Yeah, yeah, Hush was falling apart. I was like, are you kidding me? That wasn't even that long ago. And Hush, his arms were just falling off. Like I told you, I'm up here drawing, and I just hear shit, and I'm like, fuck, don't tell me we got mice again. And I look over to where I think the sound came from, and then I look on the ground. I'm like, why is Hush's fucking arm on the ground? Like, what is going on? and then the other one fell off right in front of me. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, the McFarlane figures, they stand up to use, and it's weird because people complain about NECA. I mean, we were talking about Predators and shit. I've had NECA Predators fall off the damn shelf and they're still in good shape. And I'm not even talking about like stuff they just made. I'm talking about stuff from years ago, like the AVP Predators or the fucking, the Enforcer Predator, which I had to buy 2 of because the first one, his legs, like his feet wouldn't stay in the sockets. It was weird. I think that was in the review too. Like I'd stand him up, and then when I went to pick him up to put him somewhere else, his foot would be wherever I picked him up from. It was looking bad. But yeah, I haven't had them break. Like I really haven't had many NECA figures break. And it's weird because they give NECA so much shit. And I'm like, yo, my kids have played with my NECA figures. Like those original Turtles, they played with them and nothing happened. I'm talking like they made them take punches from like the big ass.
You must have the best luck on the planet with NECA. You are the exception.
I don't know, man. Like there's so many.
I'm telling you, literally scumbag. Fucking hair snap.
Well, I know, like that kind of thing. I've had little things like that happen where like something didn't apply correctly and I had to glue it back on. Like I've had that kind of shit. Like shoulder pads, when in the summertime that year, I think it was the year before last, like when COVID first started and we had my AC unit went out up here in the man cave. Yeah, I definitely had issues where like parts came off and I had to glue them back on. But And I know like if it's too hot or if it's too cold. No, I think it's if it's too hot, stuff doesn't adhere properly. So when you open it out of the package, you got to go put stuff on. But like, I haven't really had much of that though. I've had it happen. I know for sure I've had it happen with a couple figures, but not a lot of anything else. Like with Casey Jones, I had his shoulder pad open up when I tried to move his arm. It just like part of it kind of popped up so I could see where it was glued down, and I just glued it back. No problem since then. And there was someone else. I can't remember. Someone else had a piece that like kept coming off, and I had to like pull it all the way off and then re-glue it so that it would stay where I wanted it. But like outside of that, man, I haven't really. Maybe I have been lucky. I don't know. But I'm telling you, my kids beat the shit out of those figures, and like, I'm not having limbs pop off. I'm not having like I don't know. Oh, it was Predators. It was a bunch. It was one of the Predators had like a sheath. He had a leg sheath for his knife, and I think it was the Scar. He had a leg sheath, and that sheath kept falling off, and then the clip for his combi stick in the back, it broke. Like all I did was ever put the combi stick in there. It broke the first time I put the stick in the little clip. Like stress just broke.
Yeah, they're super brittle.
Yeah, but that's it. You know, other than that, like I haven't really had any issues, man. Like their fucking blades don't break. I will say the combi stick on what's his name, the Enforcer Predator. One of the points came off. I had to glue that shit back on with like Gorilla Glue, and that kept it. You know, that was perfect. It didn't mess up from there. But yeah, other than that, I haven't had issues with my Preds. Like they're pretty good, and most of my the other figures, like especially the fucking Defenders of the Earth. Like I heard so much craziness with them, and I'm just like, yeah, I haven't had any issues with them like people have been saying. The only issue I have is that their joints were painted, and as soon as you move their foot or their wrist or whatever, all that paint flakes off. That's it.
You know what I have an issue with?
What's
Me
up?
not being able to find the goddamn Phantom anywhere.
Oh yeah,
That's what I have a goddamn.
You should have told me, because I saw the recently. I saw the one, not the Defenders of the Earth version, but the classic version with the pistols.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. I can't find it anywhere, and everybody wants like $50 for it, and I'm not paying that.
If I see him, I'll get him for you. I'll let you know next time we go to Target. I'll look for it.
Yeah, every time I go to Target, it's like, nope. We got Flash Gordon, and that's it.
Yeah, we always see Flash, Ming, and that version of the retro version of Flash, Ming, and Phantom. And I didn't really want them. I kind of want the Phantom, but I prefer the all purple, cartoon version of the Phantom. But yeah, if I see the other one, I'll pick them up.
Yeah, please do, because it's dry over here.
Yeah.
Super 7's doing Toxic Crusaders.
Yeah, I saw that.
I already got Toxies, but I do want the other two, because that line, trying to get those vintage figures, which I just originally wanted the vintage figures.
Good
luck. They're ridiculously priced now.
Yeah. Because
they're like $60 to $100 a pop for a figure.
But at least I will say in favor of those figures, unlike so many other quote unquote vintage figures, they're one of a kind. Because that line is the only line they ever got. It's the only animated series they ever got. So they actually are like they're like a piece of history, so it makes sense. Whereas
Toxic Crusaders.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense with a lot of other shit, because it's like you have, like with Ninja Turtles, there's so much of the old Ninja Turtles vintage shit that it's like, how can you possibly price this as if it's rare? None of it's rare. Every time we go to the toy show, there's dudes with boxes upon boxes upon boxes of that shit, because it was so much. The shit was like overflowing in the stores, because Ninja Turtles was just so fucking popular, So it's strange to me that that's the way those things are priced. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. But,
yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those Super 7 Toxic Crusaders. I don't know how deep they're going to go in the line. There's not really that much to really work with.
Yeah.
You know, as far as that toy line kind of, you know, took a dip.
Mm-hmm.
But looking forward to getting just a couple of them. We probably talk about Serpentor for a second.
He looks good.
Yeah, he does.
He looks good.
I hate that he's a con exclusive.
Yeah.
That should not be a con exclusive. That should be in every store, because you can't have Serpentor without his goddamn chariot.
Yeah.
I don't care what argument someone wants to come up with.
Yeah.
You can have him without. No.
Yeah.
It's like his appendage.
Yeah.
It's like an appendage.
Yep, I agree.
It's like him not coming with the right leg. You know, you got to have him and his chariot.
I agree.
So, I don't know.
I agree. That is a strange choice.
I think it's stupid. And they haven't priced him out yet, and I don't like the fact that they did that. If you reveal a figure, you reveal the price.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's kind of sus that you, as a company, come out with a toy, don't reveal the price because you want to gauge how much people are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
That's Hasbro, man. Like, that's the way. That's why I don't understand the faithfuls, because I'm like, they nickel and dime you so much. How could you possibly be faithful to this company?
Exactly.
Like, it makes no sense. But,
and they turn, they I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole rant about that, but the figure itself looks good, though. I like the chariot. The 50 caliber, the 50 cal guns are removable off the chariot.
Yeah.
Cloth goods cape comes with 2 heads and a modern looking crest, which I think I'm going to go with probably the modern one if I get this over the classic looking version, because I just don't want the classic versions. Just don't care.
I don't even remember let me look at these crests, man. Oh, I see.
So one kind of looks like it's all molded into his head.
Yeah, I see it.
And the other one's separated with the back.
With the hood, and then I got you. I prefer the classic. They both look cool. They both look cool, though, because I remember, like, in the IDW... No, not IDW. It was Devil's Due. He had, like, a faceplate.
Yeah.
Remember, he had, like, the whole suit was all contained. It looked more like what you're talking about, the more modern one. It would be cool if, like, in battle, it just, like, the hood actually, like, folded up behind his head, and then this, the more streamlined one just popped on. That would look really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks good. It looks really good. I don't think I've ever had an actual Serpentor. No, that's not true. I had the original, like, way back in the 90s. I had the small, 3 3/4 inch version of that. So
yeah,
it wouldn't be too bad. But it's just, I'm not trying to jump into this full on. I have pretty much all the Joes that I've wanted. I have them. And now to have to turn around and buy them all on another scale, I'm still not feeling that. Like, just certain ones, I'm like, okay. But then others, I'm like, yeah, no thank you.
Well, yeah, just skip the ones you don't want. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I see something that looks good to me, I'll add to the collection. But usually if something comes in that takes up a lot of space, something has to go out that takes a lot of space. So, but I don't know. Hasbro had a decent booth. I want to say G.I. Joe was their strongest point. I didn't even look at any Marvel Legends because I just don't give a shit. I don't know if you did.
No, you know me.
I could absolutely care less about Marvel Legends. It's been floating in vanilla land forever. And I just don't give a shit. I don't collect them, so I don't really have much to say about it. I haven't even looked at anything.
Yeah, I stopped. I think the last bit of Marvel Legends stuff I got all was X-Men stuff, and then after that I was like, yep, I'm done. And it was funny because I was trying to get X-Force stuff, and as soon as all those figures started, X-Force and X-Factor started to get ridiculous in price, I was just like, fuck it, I'll just stick with what I got. Because it's not fun when you can't get a hold of these figures. You know, when you have to do all this shit. You know, it's like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm going to talk about a company that has a lot of balls and a lot of nerve to show off a bunch of toys that they're promising people and they still don't have.
What you got? What you talking about?
Mezco.
Oh Lord, yeah, I don't even give them the time of day anymore. I'm like, fuck you guys. You make us pay a deposit on a figure that you're not going to release for years. You haven't given us any money back. You know what I mean? Like, nothing back. You didn't drop the price for those of us who pre-ordered that shit 3 years ago. It's just, it's such a bad look. But
they got the balls to put the 89 Batman in the display case. Like that's like the biggest middle finger you could do to the people still waiting for that shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But it's such a shitty piece of shit move. I don't know.
Well, I agree. I am with you.
It's like, oh look, it's right here, but we're not going to release it yet. And I mean, I don't care what the excuses are, because we're going to get some sort of excuse makers in the comments that are like, well, you don't understand. It's a seamless body. It doesn't take 3 years to make a seamless body. I don't care what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't even take 3 years to design a new car.
Yeah.
Let alone a seamless body on a toy.
Yeah, and even if they did, even if it's like a revision type thing where they did one version and it didn't work, we've done revisions on our figures a bunch of times, and like, as long as your revisions are tight and you know what you're trying to do, you know what you're working with, you have like constraints and limitations that you're working within, then you can't really go too far from, you know what I mean, what you started with. You just can't. So like, I don't understand why it's been so terrible. That whole entire process has just been so fucking terrible. It doesn't make any sense. But, you know, when you have fans that will make excuses for a corporation that has the facilities to do this stuff, then, you know, there's your sign. There's nothing else we can say. It just is what it is.
Or how about this? Just don't go with a seamless body.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to age well anyway.
Yeah.
Hot Toys went with their seamless body, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking figure can't move.
Yeah, he can't. And they did the same thing with a couple other versions of Batman. I mean, I know they got better as time went on, but still, it's not the best choice always. You know, like I say, don't do the gimmicks. Gimmicks are just not. They're not the greatest.
Yep. So, I don't know. I'm kind of over the Mezco thing. I got my Batman people, persons, and
and think about this, right? Like, McFarlane has been making Batman figures from day one, and like each time he makes one, with the exception of the Hush one, which is still a huge kind of, he only fucked up in one area, and it's still kind of a disappointment. Like, if he came with an extra head, and if they do another version where they fix the fucking joints on his elbows, then that figure would be straight up like hot fire, and then we could all be happy about that shit. But like, McFarlane has so many Batman figures, like the fucking the Lee Bermejo Batman and Superman. Those figures are fucking phenomenal. Like, some of the best of the series, period. They're like some of the best figures in the line, and not the wave, in the line. And you know, we're still watching and listening and waiting for Mezco to tell us about what they're actually trying to do with the shit they're making. And it's just like, you know, fuck that. There's other people doing better stuff.
Well, and it's just weird that like Mezco, like their whole display, like for San Diego Comic-Con, like they're like, let's say, okay, let's put this in perspective. Let's say, to the people out there that are listening to this, let's say you are a brand new person, never saw Mezco in your life, right? And you walk up to the Mezco booth and you're staring at all these figures. You're like, oh, look, they got all three versions of different, I want that, the first appearance Batman, I want, the Sovereign Knight Batman, and I want, the Dark Knight Returns inspired Batman. And they're all in the display case, and you're staring at them, and you go up to one of the reps, you're like, so, what's the release date on that Batman, and how about that Mr. Freeze, and how about, even, let's take a look at,
Ghost Rider.
Who else?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, how about Captain America over there in his classic look, and who else? Let's see. Captain Nemo. Oh, well, sir, thing about that is those are all sold out. You can't actually get that. Oh, what about Black Mask? Can I get him? Oh, no, he's a part of an exclusive 2-pack. You can't get, he's sold out, too. Okay, so why the fuck are they in the case, then, if you can't order them or buy them or do anything? Why even bring these figures to the damn showcase?
We just want to let you know we made them. Yeah, there's a lot of bad practices with fucking Mezco. I swear, like, that's why they completely, like, I fell out of love with Mezco after the fucking Supreme Knight and after Wonder Woman. The fact that they fucked around so much with Batman 89 and there's no communication, nothing. And the fact that they released the fucking Dr. Fate figure with gimmicky lights and shit, and then they made him, like, fucking ridiculously expensive, and for what you're getting.
Well, and you can't move his head up and down.
I'm like, fuck you. You can't have me spend extra, and he can't do more things. Like, he has to do more if I'm gonna spend more money. It's not just about getting more knickknacks in the fucking package, you know what I mean? And him having gimmicks that take away from the figure. I need the full-on fucking figure so I can enjoy him and the knickknacks that you added in the package. You can't take things away. And they fucking, yeah. I was like, all right, screw you guys. And then I turn over to fucking McFarlane, and in the time shortly after they release their stuff, we get the Injustice fucking Dr. Fate, and then we get the Black Adam Dr. Fate. Both awesome designs, both of them really good figures. I mean, they're not perfect because the Injustice one doesn't come with, like, extra hands, so he could do all the crazy magic things he does with his fingers. The magical gang signs that they like to throw up. But I was able to fix that because I had extra hands. I've got tons of fucking hands from other shit that fit, those hands, and I can, pose them the way I want to. I shouldn't have to, but, I can. But for $20 with that sculpt, like, you've seen that figure, right? Like, all the fucking detail on his costume all over the place. Both of them. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts. Like, if you look at the costume from Black Adam, there's all this Egyptian fucking, like, what is it called? Hieroglyphic type shit going on all over. All the patterning on his costume is that. And there's, like, Ankhs detailed in there as well. And it's like a pattern, like a repeating pattern all through the costume, the cape, everything. And, like, you have to really, like, kind of look at it at the right angle, and then you'll notice that the pattern is forming something. And you get a little bit closer up on it, and you can see all the individual hieroglyphics. And they did that shit all over the fucking figure. And it's like, this is a $20 figure. It doesn't even make sense, you know what I mean? Like, so if that's what we're getting from McFarlane, then almost everyone else has no excuse.
Well, and the McFarlane is really on top of their game because they're doing what kind of 2-pack? A Blue Beetle and Booster Gold 2-pack.
Yeah, it looks good.
So it looks really good. I'm definitely getting that without a doubt. Yeah. I just love those two, and those are the two versions that I do enjoy.
Yeah, Justice League International.
Now Booster Gold does not come with Skeet, which is unfortunate.
I thought it's in the 2-pack because I saw it on the
Is it?
Yeah, he's in there. Someone asked about it, and then I saw a post. McFarlane had a post where he was showing them on how he does those really bad and abrupt character reveals on YouTube. It'll be like a turnaround of them, and it'll cut off. The music cuts off like in the middle of the song and shit. Like he did one of those for them both, and it showed the accessories as well. And I was like, oh, okay. So you got Skeets, and you've got the strobe gun, and you've got his phone, Booster Gold's phone, and then you have I think there's like an alternate hand or two. I can't remember. But
that all sounds good to me because.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was coming with it because when I pre-ordered them off of Amazon, it didn't show any accessories. It just showed them.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, I saw it on Amazon as well. I was like, yeah, I thought that first too, and I held off. I also was kind of like, I looked at like things like the this is where I'm nitpicking and shit, but like the DCUC ones used transparent plastic for the goggles on both of them, whereas this one it's all painted. But I understand it's like the style that was in the book that they're imitating. Oftentimes that's the way it was drawn, so it fits, you know. But they're still pretty awesome looking figures, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they're like favorites. I mean, I love Blue Beetle and Booster Gold too. I think I fucking actually it's one of those comics I actually read. One of my good friends, he's the one that put me onto that book years and years and years ago. I think I was in like 8th or 9th grade, and he lent me that Justice League International, and I loved it. The shit was hilarious, man. I was like, okay, like this is cool.
I'll always remember that's the team that just got their ass throttled by Doomsday.
Yeah, everybody, just about everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I don't understand.
Guy Gardner got it.
Oh, he got destroyed.
So did Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle
he got fucked up. He got fucked up. Yeah. Yeah, it was unfortunate for them, but it's a cool team. Lots of cool, goofy dynamics, you know.
Yep.
I really dug. What's her face? Fire and Ice. I always liked those two. They were so strange, and like the fact that Ice was so like demure in comparison to Fire, and isn't she like a princess or something in whatever part of Scandinavia that she comes from?
Yeah, because Fire's from Brazil.
Yep. Yeah, I dug it. I dug it a lot. It's one of those books I definitely want to. I should have had one. I don't have any of those books. Those are books that were still at my mom's, so the whole purge shit, I lost them. So I'm gonna have to find a collected edition of that book and then, you know, jump back into it. Because yeah, those are
my nickname for Ice was always the Scandinavian Queen, the Viking Queen.
Viking Queen, yeah, she was cool. She was cool. It's weird because back in the day they used to push some of those lesser known characters. You'd see them show up in things more often. Nowadays it's just the big three. You know what I mean? Like maybe big four because Flash. They put them in everything, and it's just like, can we get some of these other characters that are equally as interesting? You know, like they may not be as popular, but they're equally as interesting. I would love to see them in more shit. But, you know, hopefully that's what we get with all the changes that are going on right now.
Oh, God, who knows with what they're going to do. Oh, I really don't think they have a clue as to what they're doing.
Well, it sounds like they do. They got a 10-year plan. And the new
they got a 10-year plan. It's going to happen, what, 10 years?
No, starting, it's already started. They're already doing it now. Like they didn't just like the restructuring, at least from what we're seeing, the restructuring has been like they're axing things that weren't making money. All the shit that's like chasing the trends of the time, they're cutting that shit out, and they're like, yeah, we're not hurrying up and green lighting shit movies just because it's trendy. They're like, we're not going to make, they're not making any movies anymore for DC.
So they're not going to make any more Batman movies.
No, they're not going to make any Batman movies where they, yeah, I know, right? Like they're not going to make any. I think they're going to make less of those tentpole like I got a director who I like, who has an idea for what Batman should be that's drastically different from who Batman actually is. So now they're gonna have like, because what's the guy's name? Horn. I can't remember his first name. Alan Horn, I think it is. I gotta look that shit up so I don't say the wrong thing and someone goes, well, actually,
it's Horny.
Oh my god. Is it DC? Let me look this up. But like the guy, I think it's Alan Horn. I could be wrong, but he used to be an exec over at Disney back when, yeah, it's Alan Horn. That's his name. He used to be working for Walt Disney. He was the chairman of Walt Disney back when kind of Marvel, like early 2010s, when the Marvel Cinematic Universe was like really, really starting to hit its stride. And he's the one who put Kevin Feige in his place, like put him in that position where he's at now, to give him the freedom to do what he's doing. So now he's back. He used to be working for Warner Brothers, and then after he left Warner Brothers, he went to Disney, and now he's back to Warner Brothers. So he could easily put a new person for DC on the Warner Brothers side in the same position that he put Kevin Feige in Marvel, because what they're doing is they're finally just like, fuck it, we're gonna do a plan that's similar to how Disney handled Marvel. And I'm like, why didn't you do this from the beginning? You practically created this with the animated universe. You know, like you had your Batman the Animated Series, then you did Superman, then you did Justice League, then you did like, Batman Beyond, then you did Justice League, then you did like, other things in between that tied them all together, then you did Justice League Unlimited, you did more movies. Like, it makes sense. You slowly introduced us to certain characters, you expanded on those characters, but then
how about we refocus good storytelling with DC animation? Because when was the last DC animation fucking movie that came out?
The Green Lantern one. They just did one for Jon Stewart. It's actually pretty good. It's called Beware My Power. Green Lantern, Beware My Power. And it's kind of a retelling of a bunch of stuff. But
what I'm saying is they used to pump them out like.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. The team used
like
to be
crazy,
better.
And
the team
now it's like, oh, here's one a year if you get that.
Well, after the New 52, I think they slowed down, because remember back then they were pumping those out really often, and they were bad. Like, a lot of them weren't that great. They were people cursing up a storm, and there was sex all over the place, and like the story itself was not. It was a lot of shock value.
Yeah, it's like they handed over the rights to a 14-year-old.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Like, there was a lot of just like shit that happened just to happen, and it was like the stories weren't that great, not memorable, But yeah, then they slowed down and they started doing one or two every so often, because that's how they started out. Like, Return of the Joker popped up out of nowhere, and it was like the one for a couple years, and then all of a sudden, then they did they did Mask of the Phantasm first, then they did that, then they did Sub-Zero, then they did
Sub-Zero is actually pretty underrated.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's legit, like Mr. Freeze acting like Mr. Freeze. You know what I mean? It's not like out of character like so many of these movies tend to be. But so they're really going about fixing stuff. I think that's why they canceled Batgirl, because it was a whole bunch of Batgirl doing stuff that Batgirl doesn't typically do. The character,
like have sex with Batman? Oh yeah.
No, I don't know about that, but like because I think they were gonna make her like bisexual or something like that, and like,
oh, for God's
you know what I'm
sake.
saying? Like, they were going down that route where they try to change the character to meet check off all the boxes of the time, and it's like, but she's not that. So you need to make her still Barbara Gordon, and you know what I mean? Don't drift too far away from who she actually is. You can have other characters, lesser known characters who don't have all the baggage. You can do that with them, but like these face characters, you got to keep the face characters acting like themselves the way we know them. So, and these are all things they pointed out. So it's kind of funny hearing an executive finally talk like he knows what he's talking about. So I don't care anymore because I've been burned enough. So I'm kind of like, I want to watch cool shit. So if it happens, I'll be like, yay, I get to watch some cool shit. But, it's nice to hear them sound like they know what they're talking about. We have to see what they actually do. Like, a lot of people are afraid that we won't see Keaton in The Flash because they've been restructuring things so much that they cut him from Aquaman because he was going to be involved in Aquaman, and I was like, that's kind of weird because you haven't introduced him in anything yet.
Yeah, what the hell?
So
what's going on with Ezra Miller and his crazy ass?
Yeah, all that stuff. Like, I think
that's a guy I'd like to punch in the face repeatedly.
I think most people want to punch him in the face because he's squandering like all these opportunities right now, just doing dumb shit. But
there's something mentally wrong with him.
Yeah, clearly he needs help. He needs a lot of help, and he definitely has the money to get the help. It's about him actually, taking the help. Go and get help, motherfucker. Like, stop screwing around.
Something.
But yeah, I mean the changes they're coming. I mean they've been happening, but like they're really, really changing things. Like I said, they got rid of. They canned Batgirl because it was too. They said it was a bad movie, number one, and then it was too different from. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's but people are saying all kinds of weird shit, man. Like they're saying stuff like it's racist that they canceled it because she's Latina and it was the only movie. I'm like, but Batgirl's not Latina, and like, where did you get that from? Like, why did you make such a big change to someone so straightforward? Like, we get it. You want inclusion and stuff like that, but like some of these characters just are who they are. You can kind of build that around them, You can put characters like Montoya in the forefront instead of having her.
And like Barbara Gordon's like iconic redhead. Like,
yeah.
Like just stop.
Yeah, I agree.
Just stop.
Yeah, they're doing too much. It's too much messing with things that you don't need to mess with.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, it's a character that you can fuck around with, Damien. Go nuts with him. I don't want to see him on screen. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, I don't want the little bastard on screen because I hate the little bastard.
I know, right?
But, like, you could do that. You can fuck with You can fuck with Tim if you want to. With Jason if you want to.
Leave Tim. They've done enough wrong to Tim. They need to leave him alone.
Especially with that shitty ass Titan. Oh god.
Yeah, they messed with him a little too much. Especially in the comics these days, they've done all kinds of weirdness with him that is just like, why do you keep on messing with his character? He's the guy who discovered who Batman was, the kid, the Robin who discovered the secret.
Well, and he's also the only Robin that should really take up the mantle.
Yeah,
like, Damien's not worthy of that.
Yeah, Damien's kind of a moron.
Damien's such a little shit nugget. I can't stand him. He's like that. He's like that little nugget after you take a shit that keeps floating back up to the surface. Every time you flush it, just keeps floating back up. No,
he's the dingleberry.
You can't get rid of it.
The dingleberry that just won't drop. It's like, dude, let go.
You keep shaking your tail feather like a fucking duck, and it won't drop. It's just like, get out of here. I can't stand you. Terrible character.
Oh my god, these conversations, man.
Fucking awful.
Oh my god. But yeah, so they're making changes. Like, it's weird because while I'm working sometimes I'll just have on like podcasts and stuff, and so like I've been listening to a lot of like industry talk and like, what's going on with Warner Brothers and like what are they changing and what are they not changing, and what's David Zaslav doing right now, and like essentially he's making all these kind of hard choices, or at least what people are seeing as hard choices, but like when you look at the grand scheme of things, they're not hard choices. It's like he's cutting all the shit that's trendy that doesn't make money. Like he even said, like, how do we have a stable with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and we're not using them as the lead characters in just about everything? And I'm like, yeah, I don't understand this. Like, when you have Superman, he's like, their 10-year plan is centering around Superman. Which I'm like, it's about time, because how do you have Superman in your stable and you don't use him? You know what I mean? Like, if Superman is part of your team of characters, How do you not write stories with one of the most popular characters in the fucking known world? Like, that doesn't make sense. How did Marvel come along and make Captain America a household name again? And DC can't do that with Superman. He's already a fucking household name. So much so that Marvel makes references to Superman in their own movies and comics and shit. Like, you know what I mean? He's so fucking famous. It's a non... It's like a...
Oh my god, if Marvel could have their way, they would buy Warner Brothers and steal Superman.
Yeah, it would make sense.
They would just adapt him into the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
If they could.
Yeah.
Because every time whether it's Sentry or some other lame ass version of Hyperion, you know, it's like they always want Superman to be a part of their universe, but they can't have him. They just can't.
Yep. I agree.
So
yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why it's so difficult for them to know what to do with these characters. I have no idea why they're struggling so much, because it just feels like the people who are in charge have no fucking clue.
Yeah,
who
that's
these
what it is.
characters
It's a
are.
bunch of corporate morons that have no idea what to do with these characters, who they even are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they know the name Superman, but they have no idea anything. They could have read a fucking probably two sentences of anything having to do with Superman other than just his name.
Yeah.
Is Superman, and we know what he looks like, and he can fly, and he's bulletproof, and that's probably all they know.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm giving them too much credit with that. So these are just rich people making terrible decisions, and it's backfiring, and they're losing money, and they're having to merge with fucking Discovery now, and now they're gonna have to scrap HBO because that's what they own. Now the HBO app is going to cease to exist.
Well, they're combining a bunch of stuff with.
Yeah, but they're going to
HBO.
scrap the HBO.
HBO Max is just going to be. I think it's all going to be one thing now instead of several things, which they should have done that from the beginning. Something like that. What they said
they're merging with Discovery, and Discovery is going to be the big app because Discovery already has their app.
Well, what they said on their call, they just had like a what do they call those? Fucking, I was gonna say a conference call, but it's an investors call, and that's what is being reported right now. They just talked about how they're gonna consolidate a whole bunch of stuff. They didn't say they were gonna make everything part of the Discovery app. They were saying like the big things were DC is gonna be its own studio, the way Marvel Studios is its own studio. They're not going to have HBO and then HBO Max. They're going to combine all that shit. So that's all going to be one thing. Then they said like the Discovery stuff is still going to be there, but it's not going to take the place of other, things. Essentially, they've separated things that needed to be separate, so that way you don't have all this like dumb like. Why is it that the CW versions of the DC characters? I don't like them, but just imagine you have DC. Why is it DC on TV is different from DC in the films? Why don't they connect? They should, because it's the same. It should be the same universe. You know what I mean? Or it could be an alternate universe that at some point you have some crossover. But there should be some crossover. At least one character should be able to jump back and forth.
Or how about this? They had the whole DC Universe app, and they should have just left that the fuck alone.
The app, yeah. I think that's another thing. They're like, yeah, all that shit, they're consolidating. So, like, things, like, again, that shouldn't be separate, they're no longer separate. Which, I mean, it makes sense, Instead of doing so much of this,
yeah, it's like what Peacock does with WWE. Like, they purchase the rights for their library, so therefore they have all WWE stuff. It's just another category in the Peacock app. So.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It just, overall, I don't really give a shit. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, like, studying up on shit. But, like, overall, it seems like they actually are doing, they're making changes that make sense, Mm-hmm. And, I don't know, like, it's shit we've been saying for a long time. I mean, we were saying this stuff years ago. Like, we were saying this shit before Justice League came out. Like, we were saying this back when Man of Steel was coming out. We're like, you know, why don't they just do, like, you know, their version of what Marvel's doing? Because, I mean, they're comic books. It's comic books on film. Why are you changing things so much that you're not even following what you're actually good at? Like,
well, I think that was their original plan with Snyder. They wanted a whole Snyder verse, but Zack Snyder didn't have a fucking plan.
No, they didn't have a plan because they came to him with the stories. So the problem,
sure, but like he didn't execute. Let's be honest here. Let's call spade a spade. He didn't execute.
He's the only one.
BVS was a fucking shit show.
Well, yeah, the movie was bad. I'm saying like all the content they had came from him. So like that's the only thing they had for a long time. You know what I mean? Like they almost gave him too much freedom. And that's why you got such a strange story. But you said he didn't execute. He didn't do it. I don't think those stories were great. And that's the problem. Those stories weren't even, in most cases, they didn't fit the characters that were being used. But he did make the trilogy that you got. It's technically it's more than a trilogy because we ended up with a 4-hour Justice League movie. It's practically 4 movies, you know? It's a lot. It's not I don't think it's the perfect fit for DC. It could have been something else, but it's the 4 movies we got from from Warner Brothers dealing with those characters. Did he redeem himself with the, you know, Snyder cut? Sure. Yeah, he definitely did. But did BVS shit the bed hard? Yeah.
Well, that was just, like, BVS was him being a fanboy.
Yeah.
He stopped thinking about the actual characters and the story he's trying to tell, and he's just like, well, I want to do my version of The Dark Knight Returns. So here it is.
God, it was so bad.
It was terrible.
God.
So it's a terrible fucking shit show. It's like David Goyer all over again. Like, first we'll have them fight. Oh, and then Wonder Woman will show up. And then I got another idea. We'll have Doomsday just sprout up. And how are we going to do that? Oh, I know. Oh, we'll take the corpse of Zod. Remember him? You remember from the first movie? And then we'll just turn him into Doomsday. Like, who thinks like this? I'm saying it's like written by a 14-year-old.
Yeah, it was too much. I agree. It is too much. It's like, calm the fuck down, guys. Please, calm down.
It's like, oh shit! And what the fuck were they even fighting for? My mom and your mom have the same name. We'll stop fighting all of a sudden randomly.
Yeah,
you ruined a building that just happened to be my building.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now I'm going to fight you. But if it wasn't my building, I may have not cared that much.
Yeah, the movie was weird. It's like watching it now, like these days when I go back and I do watch I love the fucking warehouse scene because it's like the closest to the Arkham games that we will ever get on screen.
Sure.
But like when you watch the events happen, it's like like base level logic doesn't exist. You see Superman being slammed into buildings, so there's another guy there, and you blame Superman. He's getting his ass kicked.
Yes.
And you blame him for all the wrong that's going on. It's like clearly there's a bad guy doing all this shit, and they're like, "Fuck you, Superman."
Well, didn't you know he shouldn't have been in our planet to begin with?
Apparently,
because it's not like he was born on our planet or anything, or grew up as a child not knowing any better or anything, or even realizing that was his first real fight or anything. Bruce Wayne knows these things.
It was bad. It was bad. Like, yeah, I go back and I've watched that so many times. Like the director's cut is better than what we got in the theater, but it's still a bad. Like the story doesn't fit the characters. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. Like Bruce Batman, whatever you want.
He was so dumb.
Batman looks like a fucking frat guy. He looks like an idiot. He acts like an idiot.
Yeah, he's like bloodthirsty for the sake of being bloodthirsty. And they didn't do a good job explaining like what really made him act like that. They give you an idea, but they needed to explain it. They needed to there should have been a scene in there where you saw the situation where Robin got killed, so you understood like which Robin is it. I know it said Dick Grayson on
Well, they should have just done a Batman movie
I agree.
right after Superman.
I agree.
2, by the way. Should have came out with Man of Steel, Man of Steel 2, then Batman. Then, if you want to do that, then do... I don't want to discuss Batman versus Superman. Just scrap that shit. You don't need it.
I agree.
You don't need 2 people with which actually one would just be like, you know what? Enough of this shit. And he would just pull him up into space, make him pass out. That's about enough.
Yeah.
Pull him right up to the layer just before space and have him pass the fuck out. Yeah. And then bring him down, tie him down, and explain what the fuck he's all about.
Yeah. That's
what Clark would actually do. Be like, you know what? I've had about enough of you. You're about as annoying as a gnat trying to fly in my eye because there's moisture in my eye.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. It's weird. Yeah, because like I said, if they sat and spoke, if he just, because there's moments where he could have just said what was going on, and instead he was like, just listen to me. He kept saying, just listen to, like, no, just tell him, and then it would be done. And it's one of those things where it's like, for the sake of this fight, you're not going to get an opportunity to have a proper conversation.
It's ridiculous.
It feels so stupid when you watch it happen, because it's like, but there's enough time for you to just tell him what the fuck is going on. Do it. You could shout that shit, and he would definitely listen because you're Superman. But anyway,
Superman could have really pissed him off even further. Like, there's nothing more frustrating than when you're punching someone. Like I've had these dreams where, long story short, where I'm punching someone and it has like no effect on him, and it's just enraging me more. So like, imagine being Batman and you're punching this guy and he's just talking the whole time you're punching him, and it's doing nothing to him.
Yeah, it would.
Like, that's what should have happened. Was Superman, because Superman likes to fuck with people psychologically that he knows he's smarter than.
Well, he can, and it's mostly villains.
Regardless of how smart people think Bruce is, Superman's smarter. Just stop it.
Or at least he's on his level. But he should be smarter. He should be smarter because
Clark is much smarter than Superman.
Yeah, because he's an alien.
Or Clark is smarter than Bruce is what I meant. Sorry.
No, I got you. It's Superman's smarter than bats. It's just they don't play it like that, and that's the problem. But the movie's dumb. But the big thing is right now, Warner is starting. The people running Warner are looking at all the dumb shit that's been done, and they're trying to undo it. You know, so they're making things make sense. They're allowing like characters to shine that should have been shining for a long time. Like, it sounds like they're making the right changes so that people don't get bored with what they're doing. Because what's been going on with this Snyderverse shit is a lot of people are bored with the grimdark Snyder shit. Like, they want their heroes acting like heroes. I mean, if you look at Twitter, I mean, not Twitter, Instagram and shit, and you look at like all the people who collect figures and collect superhero stuff and draw they're always drawing Superman getting his ass whooped by Batman. And it's like, you do read these books, don't you? Like, you know that this is like one of those, there's really one universe where this took place and it went down that way. Everything else is derivative of that universe. So it's always somebody trying to cash in on the Frank Miller shit. And even in that universe, it's kind of a stretch that this old man was able to pull off what he was able to pull off. Like, if you like everything else, you have to be able to see where it almost doesn't make sense that at the end of that whole thing, Superman was like the main boss, like the villain. You know what I mean? Like, they
even
like
at the end, regardless of how shitty Frank Miller can draw, he draws like a blind person, and B, wanted to make poorly he wanted to make Superman look. Regardless of all that, like, Superman was still okay.
Yeah.
He was perfectly...
he was bruised, but he was alive. He was fine.
Yeah, he was perfectly, like, he could snap Bruce's neck in 3 seconds. Like, snap it like a Slim Jim.
Yeah. So,
after all that, still couldn't get the job done. So,
I'm
just all the people out there that like the... I love Batman too, but there are limitations. Let's just be honest here. Let's stop with the Batman can beat Superman shit.
Yeah, it's getting old. I mean, and like
it's really old.
It's because of that one thing. You can get your hands on kryptonite, so everyone can be super. It's like, nah, let's stop.
Yeah,
shit.
That's just plot armor. Let's just cut it out.
Yeah,
we all know what kryptonite is. It's called plot armor.
Yeah, it's the Achilles heel, the ultimate Achilles heel.
So, and it's time people start understanding and respecting Superman, because I get sick of hearing the same edgelordy type bullshit over and over and over again. Yeah. Like it's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I agree. They need to make. I'm glad that it sounds like that's what the plan is actually supposed to be.
I hope so.
Yeah, their plan is to
I'm not going to hold my breath, though.
No, me neither.
Definitely not going to. I have very lowered expectations as far as anything DC.
I agree.
Movie related.
It just sounds like, with the way that they're firing people who've been fucking up for years, this doesn't sound like, you know how before you always heard stuff and then you never actually saw it come to light? They're firing people and they're destroying, like, legit, just axing 100% certain aspects of Warner Brothers business. They're literally just like, nope, it's done, so that we can get back money. They're writing off movies, they're writing off productions, they're writing off production companies. It's just like people are losing jobs. There's people like it's legit like Daddy's Home type shit. You know, every Daddy's Home, he got the belt off and everything.
I mean, I don't want to see people lose their jobs.
Me neither.
If that's not your calling, then you need to do something else.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing happen right now. It's like they're really looking at what they've done and they're saying, yeah, like essentially you shouldn't be here. You should be over here, and this whole entire, enterprise that we're spending all this money to make exist, that needs to go, and they're getting rid of it. And it's like, oh shit, okay, now they're really serious about this. Like the whole idea that they finally are like, yo, DC needs its own movie studio, so it's gonna be its own studio. Why wasn't that ever the case in the first place? They literally are their own entity. DC Comics is its own thing. DC Animation is its own thing. Why isn't DC Films its own thing? Like,
yeah.
And they waited this long? Like, it's kind of ridiculous. So, it makes sense that they're going down the road that they're going. I'm glad they're going down the road they're going. I mean, I don't know what that's going to mean for the future, but the way that it's happening right now, it looks legit. Like, it looks like they are legit getting rid of shit. They are really fucking cleaning house. So, let's see how that all turns out, because it's a lot. I just
don't want to see Disney buy another company.
Me neither.
I am so fucking sick of Disney just buying everything and owning It's disgusting. Like, it's just disgusting. Like,
yeah.
I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day, and I was like, it's sickening that, like, the world we're growing up in, like, mom and pop places are going to cease to exist.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be corporate. We're literally turning into the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there's going to be a fucking Taco Bell. It's like turning into Demolition Man all of a sudden. Like, it's kind of gross, like, even in my small town area, like, corporations are starting to want to move in and shit, and it's
bad.
When a corporation owns everything, that's not good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a good thing. That means there's no variety. That means there's no creativity. Just throw that right out the window. So whenever a corporation exists, creativity is gone.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It's gone. Look at Disney. They've been struggling for years. All they do is keep consuming things. They don't actually create anything new. What if they created that's new?
Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing. Marvel was already created before they owned it.
Yeah.
What else? Star Wars already created before they owned it. These were all people with original ideas that they just consumed.
Yeah. I agree.
It's like they're like the Blob. You can't stop the Blob.
Yeah,
it just
expanded,
consumes you.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It is pretty bad.
So, I don't know. Even look, I mean, the Toy Story, Pixar, consumed. You know, I mean, it just they don't even know what they can't even give an original idea with Buzz Lightyear. Like, it just, oh God, they turned a toy into a shit movie about taking away the importance of, I guess, whatever Buzz Lightyear is supposed to be. I don't know. He's a fucking toy. I don't know what we're doing. Well, but what they're doing over there, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't care, but
it's weird. They're fucking up. It's just plain and simple. They're fucking up. We were talking about that too, because my son wanted to see Lightyear because he likes Buzz Lightyear, but then he didn't know that the movie was gonna be such a like separate thing. Like, it's nothing like the Buzz Lightyear that we grew up watching, like from the Toy Story universe. So when I explained it to him, I was like, this movie, he asked me why I didn't like the movie, and I was like, because it was nothing like Buzz Lightyear. It was kind of like I'm watching a different thing altogether. Like, he was incompetent, he wasn't sure of himself. He was the rest of Star Command didn't really exist. Instead, you had just random soldiers and shit. Like, they took away all the things that were interesting about the character, and a cartoon from the fucking 2000s got it right. And I'm like, there's no way you're gonna tell me that what we just watched in that film was what Andy was watching that made him want to collect the figure. And there's no way you're gonna tell me.
If Andy would have saw that shit, he would have been like, "Oh, I don't want Buzz Lightyear, Mom.
Yeah, he'd want something else, because like the attitude also, like, it's inconsistent with the shit with the with Toy Story itself, because the attitude that you see Buzz have in Toy Story is supposed to be what he thinks the character is supposed to be like. That's where he gets all that from. So for him to act like that, and then you watch the show and he's not that confident, the movie, I mean, he's not that confident, he's not that skilled at a lot of things. I mean, he kind of has the training down, but he's not like, he's not like the can-do, arrogant, needs to learn teamwork because he's used to being the lone wolf type. Like, that's not who he is in that show. In that show, he's more like, I have to do this so that I can prove that I can do things. And it's like, yeah, that's not the same guy that we've been watching multiple Toy Story films. That's not the character. You know what I mean? Like, you missed something. It looked good. It looked great. The designs looked great. Everything else looked the part, but it was like, yeah, no, you completely fucked up this story. Like, that's not his story.
Yeah, and I think another element to it is, I mean, the guy's still alive. You didn't get Tim Allen.
Yeah, they said they didn't even talk. He said it's the new Disney people that did this, and he said they didn't even talk to him or Tom Hanks.
That's fucked.
I was like, really? So some hipster exec was like, yo, we can make a better Toy Story adjacent film than the actual Toy Story films themselves, and they fucked it up. They shat the bed because they overestimated themselves. Like, it's just fucked up the way that things are going down with these companies. It's like, respect the art that came before you got your job, because that's why you have a job. Now that stuff paved the way for you to do what you do. Respect it, and then, like, try to add to it. Don't try to take all the everything. You know what I mean? Don't shit all over it. It's fucking weird, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Just, I loathe Disney as a company. I can't stand them. Just an endless pit of nostalgia.
Well, like, my big gripe, and I have this gripe with a lot of nostalgia-focused stuff, is at some point we have to stop with the nostalgia and we have to allow for new things to, like, take root and grow, because this generation shouldn't be nostalgic about the reboot for old properties from 30 years ago that we're nostalgic over.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It should be new stuff.
Nostalgia is killing the future.
Yeah. It's too much of that. And I get it, like,
it's way too much.
And that's why I called it weaponized nostalgia back in the day when I did that video. It's like they literally weaponized it. They're not even like really enhancing it. They're just like, oh, remember this from when you were a kid? We're gonna make it exactly like it was, but then we might make a version with modern, things going on, modern articulation. Maybe it's bigger, but it's gonna be exactly the same thing you got back in the day, just with a slight twist. And it's like, why don't you just make new shit that fills the same space as that stuff?
Sure.
Like,
because eventually, we got to have some sort of evolution here.
Yeah.
There's if we're staying, if we're stuck in the past or we're staying in the present constantly, and we're just going back to the past, going and staying in the present, there is no future. You have nothing else that's new. What is going to progress? Yeah. Nothing. There's nothing to progress because you haven't thought of anything different. So I don't know. The older we get, dude, the worse it gets. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And it's funny because like the when it comes to like figures and like special effects and stuff in our films, we got the capabilities to do much better shit than we used to do back in the day. It's just that we're not doing anything with it. Instead, we're just using it to keep on remaking the same shit over and over and over. And it just gets to a point where, like, it dawns on, at least I know this is how it worked for me. It dawned on me one day. I was like, I'm kind of tired of watching the same shit over and over. I'm kind of tired of seeing, when why is it G.I. Joe hasn't, in all this time, there's no new team of Joes, new code names, new weapons, new everything.
Give me something different.
Like, they haven't done anything new and then why is it every time they make a new line of G.I. Joe, the same old ass dudes say the same shit? I want the vintage, and so they got to turn around and make another vintage version of characters who've been vintage since the fucking 80s.
Until that generation is dead and gone.
Yeah,
like
that's all we're gonna get. And I'm like, why are you still listening to these motherfuckers? Like, let other people have a chance. Instead, the same old ass motherfuckers who got a credit card set specifically to buy all the G.I. Joe shit that ever comes out, so they can pre-order every fucking thing that comes out, are the same people asking for the same exact shit day in, day out. It's the same thing with Marvel Legends. It's the same thing with some of the modern Transformers. Thankfully, there's so many offshoots that people like us can still get in where you fit in, because there's just so much Transformers shit out there. It's definitely the same thing with Ninja Turtles, for better or for worse. And it's like, I love these things, but at the same time, I want to see them grow. I don't want to see them stagnate. And they just keep stagnating, And then every time we get something that could be considered like a new version of, people complain, and then they got to make it old school again. It's got to be a retro, throwback to the old thing all over again. And it's just like, we gotta stop that shit, man. We need to enhance the new shit that we're making. We need to start embracing new ideas.
You can see, like, the classified line's a perfect example.
Yeah,
they are creatively bankrupt.
Yep.
Completely creatively bankrupt. Hasbro as a company, completely creatively bankrupt, and they are deathly afraid of their collectors and the people that buy their product, because they went from first two waves of action figures were a lot different. Then people pissed and bitched and moaned, why do they have gold? These look like Fortnite figures. Oh my god, I hate the guns. Yeah. What happened?
Yep.
Now we got the same old shit again.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, granted, some of the designs weren't great. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that I did not like.
Gung ho.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Goodbye, gung ho. But there was, it wasn't even given a chance to show what it was capable of until we had to go back to the same shit again. Like, does Zartan always need to be shirtless? Not really. He doesn't need a cutoff shirt all the time. Like,
it's legit the 80s design.
And how effective is him just putting on a mask if he's still wearing his Zartan outfit? I still never understood that, even as a child. I'm like, okay, he put a different mask on, but
You can clearly see that that's fucking Zartan. I'm not crazy here, right, guys? Like,
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like, imagine if this were real life, and I'm Zartan, and I'm wearing my Zartan uniform, and I walk up to you in a mask of a bald man with a goatee. But you've seen Zartan before, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna look like, hey, let's pull that mask off and see who's under there, because I think that guy's wearing a fucking mask.
It'd be like, nice try, and they'd cap his ass. Like,
yeah,
nice
which
try,
he would
dude.
be dead or arrested or whatever. But,
yeah, it's like 2 steps from fucking Scooby-Doo and shit. Like,
yeah,
like, dude, this is pretty bad. Come on now.
If anything, you should have a Zartan 2-pack where you have Zartan, then have him in a disguise.
Yeah. Like
with alternate heads and shit.
Exactly.
That's what you want to do.
Exactly.
But putting just a mask on him is just stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Well, it's too much of like the 80s logic. Like in the 80s, that was the because they had never done it before. That was the innovation. Well, okay, how do you innovate in 2022? Like, what the fuck? Why are we still using 80s logic in fucking 2022? And, like, no one thinks like this because they just want to make sure that the fucking toy sells, so they don't ask these questions. So you keep getting the same shit over and over and over. It just gets old. It gets stupid. Like, by now, they should be innovating. There should be, like, figures should be coming with multiple torsos and shit so that you can get different looks for the figure. Their fucking heads should be modular so that you can change the hair and change the, you know what I mean? Like the way that Revoltex and some SH Figure Arts have multiple face plates. Shit, the Fortnite figures were doing this when Jax was doing them. They had, when Jazzwares, was doing them. They had the face plates so you can give them different expressions and shit. Like, you're still not getting that with other toy lines. And it's like, what the fuck? It's 2022. Do things differently. Give them multiple hands, multiple weapons. You know, if they have multiple looks and the looks are like incrementally more detailed, then give them extra fucking, legs, extra fucking boots, extra arms, extra torsos, and you can switch it up the way you want. It will change the way people customize their figures, and it will change the way. That's what Bobby Vala did with the fucking Valaverse figures. You could take them apart and then do shit with them.
They're modular.
And I don't understand why, like, this isn't the norm by now. Like, people rip apart figures and fucking customize them. People like to have different variations of a character. So then when you say Ultimate, give us all the pieces so we can have the Ultimate figure with all the looks. If it's could you imagine an actual Ultimate, like, Keaton Batman? So he has different chest plates to match the 89 suit and then the fucking 90 suit, and then probably whatever the modern version is going to look like in this Flash one. And then he has different heads that match to different time periods as well, because the masks change slightly over time. Like the symbols changed also, so you could have a different symbol on each chest plate. The gloves.
I feel like that's something NECA would do.
Yeah, they should. It's just strange that, like, you don't see more of that. Instead, what you see is the same figure, and then a couple months later or a year later, they give you the same exact figure with the slight tweaks made on the figure. It's like, I get it. You're making the same amount of money off of a whole figure. But just imagine if you do the Ultimate thing and then you sell that figure for 3 or 4 years. You made more money, you know what I mean? You charge a little more for the figure, you sell that figure for a long period of time, keep it in circulation. You're just going to make money hand over fist. Shit, I'm sure if NECA did that, that's a Batman figure that could fund a whole bunch of other lines.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And yet they're not doing that.
Well, they could probably afford to get the rights for the rest of the team for Dutch's team and get that team done.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah,
there's so much still that could be done, and it's just.
And this isn't to take away anything from NECA though, because NECA they utilize their licenses. You know what I mean? Like they're doing. NECA's not one of the ones that's the most problematic. There's things NECA does that's kind of stupid, and it's like, you could be doing this, but instead you keep doing this. But you see the output with the Turtles. They figured out, like, hey, Turtles was huge, and it's been consistently big since its inception. Like, why don't we jump back on that? Cool. Now
and that's the thing. Like, back in the day, I feel like it was a lot harder to get licensing and rights to do something.
Yeah.
Because remember, for like the longest time, like it took a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive just to get those movie Turtles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, that's probably going to be like the only time we ever get Turtles from them because Playmates has got that shit on lockdown. And I remember us being really bummed out. And I think we even did a podcast talking about it. And we're like, oh, well, I guess we'll just have to deal with Playmates and their bullshit and their crappy kind of materials that they use for their figures and wonky eyes and loose limbs. And
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, poof, like NECA just pumped all this shit out like crazy. So I feel like now it's like it's a lot easier for rights to be attained or at least licensing so you can use certain characters in a toy line, stuff like that. I feel like it's a lot easier now than it ever was.
Yeah, they found loopholes. That's the main thing. It was like, if you had the rights to the movie, then you have the rights to all the shit that's showed up in the movie, so you could make all that. And you could make all the variations of the movie stuff. If you have the rights to the cartoon, you can do that. If you don't have the rights to the comics, you can't do the comic shit. So, like, for a while, that's literally the constraints they were working with. It was like they could only do this, but they couldn't touch this other stuff. And they, other companies are figuring that out,
Yeah.
It's just... There needs to be a lot more innovation. The innovation has completely stopped. Like, why don't more animes that were popular have toy lines that go with them? Like, there should be a Trigun fucking toy line. There should be a fucking Cowboy Bebop. There should be a fucking, I don't know, some people like Hunter x Hunter. There should be a toy line for that. Some people like like fighting games. How come most fighting games don't have toy lines? They should. Yeah. They should. It's so many characters. You know what I mean?
I want a Final Fight toy line.
Yeah, like they should have been made all these figures, but instead it's the same shit.
The Rage, all that shit.
Yeah, same shit all over. I mean, thankfully they're making Streets of Rage figures. It's just they're being done by Storm Collectibles, so they look good, but they're super expensive. So it's like, ugh. But you know what I mean?
Like $100.
Yeah, like domestic companies need to be taking advantage of these fucking toy lines or these lines in general, and then or properties, and make toy lines out of them if that's what you want to do, and then offer something that the other lines don't. Instead of everything trying to be Marvel Legends, you can make them the same scale, but then offer more than what the Legends offer. There's no innovation, and that's what frustrates me. And then, when they innovate, like McFarlane, like Valaverse, you get all this bullshit kickback.
Yeah, you get this weird, like, people hate on shit.
Yeah.
It's, like, weird. It's like people just people want to be just stuck in their comfort zones and they don't want to evolve. Yeah. They just want to be stagnant.
Yeah.
A better term, they don't want anything that's different because it's like fearful that the one thing that they love is going to go away forever.
Yeah,
those things aren't going to go away because they know that they sell. Yeah. So it's like you don't have to worry about those things going away. It's ridiculous to think that way.
Yeah,
it's a form of insanity.
I know, because you're just doing the same shit over and over and over. And you're hoping for things to be better this time than they were last time, and it's like it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Yep. But I don't know. I genuinely think more innovation would help. Like the reason why the Lightning Collection works is because it's literally a U.S. version of the kind of shit we get from import companies for the most part. Obviously, it's streamlined, so you don't get as much in terms of accessories and shit like that, but the figures have articulation along the lines of what you normally would get from an import company. It's just made here. So it's like, it sells like hotcakes. And instead of focusing on just the Japanese version of everything, they're like, hey, we can focus on the US version of all these things. Makes sense. That's business sense. And then it makes practical sense with, like, the demographics that you're focusing on, It's just too many of the companies are not thinking like that, There's so many things that, like if they were gonna do, you remember when I did the if I ran the G.I. Joe line, what I would do, and I talked about how there should be a line that's dedicated to just the cartoon. Why did Super 7 have to show up and do that? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of fucked up. Super 7.
Well, yeah, especially Super 7.
Yeah.
Super 7.
They came out of nowhere and they're like, hey, we're going to make G.I. Joe. What? You gave them the fucking license to G.I. Joe so that they can make cartoon-accurate figures? Why isn't Hasbro doing that? Like, why aren't you making figures based on, like, you know, Hasbro did the 86, well, Takara Tomy and Hasbro did the 86 movie for Transformers figures. Why not have an 86 G.I. Joe line where you just do nothing but those G.I. Joe characters? Everything we saw in that movie, you do some kind of figure and vehicle, you know, from that. Instead, probably Super 7 will come along and do it and charge you an arm and a fucking leg. Like, it just doesn't make sense that the people who are in charge of these things don't even see the fucking
because they run everything like they run Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
If you look at Marvel Legends, because that's their bread and butter, they literally run every fucking. The Black Series is run just like Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
The G.I. Joe Classifieds, Marvel Legends. Like, everything that they do is to a T the same business model as Marvel Legends. Oh, you want a big ticket item? HasLab. Yeah. Oh, you want vehicles? You only get motorcycles. Yeah. In store, anything else? HasLab.
Yeah.
You know, they literally are the most basic bitches. They are the most vanilla company as far as toys go on the market.
Well, as far as innovation,
especially business model. Like, they literally run off of one business model, and that is do the exact same thing for every fucking toy line. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Variant after variant after variant after variant.
Variant after variant. Like, oh, and we're not going to do separate looks for characters. We're just going to do this one look, and that's it. And if you don't like it, we'll switch it to the nostalgia.
Yeah.
And if you don't like nostalgia, then we'll cancel the line, and then we'll reboot it in 2 to 3 years from then, just like they did with G.I. Joe 2 to 3 years ago. So.
Yeah, it's a pain.
It's a rinse and repeat thing. They're
yeah.
They just keep doing the same shit over and over again.
And we people like me and you, we've been giving them nuggets for years. Like, I just gave you another nugget. Like, if you did the 86 series for Transformers, do the same thing with G.I. Joe. You got a winner on your hands, you know? Do the fucking Power Rangers 90s movie, because those suits were fucking amazing. Do all that shit. People like it. People still like the look of that film. People still like some of the stuff that happened in the film. Make figures just based on that movie. Do the same thing with, you know, I don't know, go with the Turtles. You could go back and take any comic book series that they've done. Like, why have they not done Santoluco style Ninja Turtles yet? No one's done them yet, with the pockets and the ninja, like, wristbands and shit, and the, you know, with add Jennika into the mix. Like, where's the Jennika action figure? You made fucking Last Ronin figures before you made.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Before they made the good fifth turtle. Like, what the fuck? Like, make the shit that like no one's thinking about. Like, if you take a comic book continuity and then you turn that into your toy line, you have so many things to pull from, especially when the artist is as good as Santoluco. I mean, he redid so many characters. The Purple Dragons, fucking, you know, his version of Shredder is fucking phenomenal. It's like the best looking Shredder we've ever seen, and yet he doesn't have a toy. It's like, what is going on with the people at the head of these things? You know, I'm sure at some point NECA might do it, but it's like, why have we had to? He's not even drawing that book anymore. Like, you could have been doing this shit when he was making those books, and people would have been like, oh shit, you're doing this character and that character, and you know, it would blow people away. You know, there's another freebie for NECA.
Well, I mean, look what we have to do to get good comic book versions of figures now.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, everything was the comic book version. That was the relevant, was the canon. Now everything is like, movies are turning into the fucking canon now. It's like disgusting.
Yeah. Bad movies.
So it's like,
bad movies.
They don't give a fuck about that. Everything is movies sell, so if the movies sell, then you'll get figures. But the comic books, maybe we'll do it as an exclusive, that version, but you're not going to get it regular retail.
Well, I mean, with NECA, they don't do only movie stuff. They've been doing, especially for the Turtles, they've been digging into the comics, which is pretty cool, you know. But
sure, but the first Turtles to come out of NECA were the movie ones.
No, the first Turtles to come out of NECA were the comic book ones.
Well, okay. I'm sorry. The first ones that sold really well were the movie ones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's true. And I think like it's strange to me. I mean, because the original ones came out when NECA was not necessarily the word when it came to Ninja Turtles. Like, you remember, like, those ones came out when NECA was just that weird company that you sometimes saw in the comic book store, you know? And then, like, all of a sudden, like, they did horror figures and people started to catch on a little bit. And then when they did the Turtles were the first ones that really stood out. Then they did the player select stuff where they were kind of posable and stuff. And it was like, oh, shit, NECA actually makes some cool-looking stuff. And, you know, they started to pick up from there. But, yeah, the movie Turtles were, like, something a lot of us were waiting for. A lot of us were waiting for them. So... yeah, I just it's strange to me that like companies aren't like actually looking at properties the right way. They're licensing out like one character or two characters from a series, and you should be fucking investing in licensing the whole entire property or that IP. Like, like I love Fate, the Fate series. It's an anime series. That's the one that Saber 2.0 comes from. Why is there not like a line that's just those figures? Every character, you know how many variations? It's about like a multiverse in which this particular battle happens between mages and heroic spirits, and that's what you know. King Arthur, Artoria Pendragon is a variant of King Arthur that one mage managed to pull into his, you know, to his side to fight in this war. But there's like 20 or 30 other versions of this story where there's a male King Arthur. There's another one where, you know, Artoria gets possessed by an evil god and changes, and there's like different characters are the main characters besides Saber. You know what I mean? Like, you could just pick one and make all the characters from that one, and there's your toy line, you know? There's so many things out there that they could use because pop culture, and it's expanded so much in recent years, and yet these companies constantly do the same shit over and over and over, and then like the fans don't demand anything. They demand stupid stuff, but they don't demand like more. Like, they always demand make a change with this or don't make a change with these. But it's like, why don't you demand innovation? Why don't you demand like, you know, higher quality stuff? Why don't you demand that the company actually go out and research a little bit more, you know, the designers research some more. And then,
because in their basic bitch minds, in the corporation's mind, because they're the most generic minds available, they're like, well, we're only gonna sell what sells. Yeah. We know will sell and make money. We're not going to take a risk anymore on something that maybe might sell, but we're going to lose money on. So they don't even want to take risks anymore on anything. They just want to see, okay, whatever sells, we'll acquire it, and then we'll sell that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's pretty sad.
I really, really fucking want to see some innovation, you know? And, like, you know, I've been to the point where I'm like, I'm going to have to do it myself, you know? And it's one of those things where it's getting really stupid to see how fans can easily, I shouldn't say easily, but they're more willing to do that stuff than the corporation.
Even Bobby Vallis talking about switching to a bigger company.
Really?
So, oh, yeah. Did you see his panel at
no.
Joe Fest? Oh, yeah.
What did he say?
Panel at Joe Fest, he started talking to a bunch of people, or he asked the crowd, he goes, so what do you guys think if, you know, I were to, you know, license out my product to a bigger company so it could be in stores and stuff like that? And he's like, I'd still be in charge, but how would you guys feel about that? And everyone was like, no.
Really? Wow. That's what I'm saying, man. It's fucked up. Everybody could enjoy that shit. his business would be like he'd be able to expand so much more.
Sure.
And like
he would.
They're trying to stifle his fucking ability to do that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. And
it's just a lot of people that are just very misinformed with how things work. Like, you can't expect one man to do all of this shit forever.
Well, and
it can't happen.
He's not their personal toy messiah. Like, he is making a cool line, but like, you can't expect him to be like doing what he's doing now in the early stages of this line in 20 years, like, or 10 years, because like he's got to expand, he's got to reach out to new collectors and new people that are interested in this sort of stuff. He can't just rely on these old guys because we're not going to be here forever. He's not going to be here forever, but the business may. So if you want the business to continue, you got to expand. You can't just only cater to this small minority and then expect that to keep your business alive forever, because they're not going to be here forever. So yeah, it's a closed-minded view of how things work. And I know someone's going to try to argue with me, which I don't understand how you could. I mean, what I'm saying is the truth. It's fact. Like, the collectors of today are not going to necessarily be the collectors of tomorrow, because you're not going to be here forever. You're collecting. Your path is finite. Once you get to the end of that path, someone else got to take your place. So like,
exactly,
you got to keep on like refreshing things, and you got to keep on expanding, and you got to keep on like finding new avenues to make the concept more interesting, and you got to innovate, because that's the best way to do it. If you innovate, you could technically sell the same thing, for generations, but each generation of the thing that you're selling is slightly different, better, more complex, or more involved.
Well, people are just so afraid to take a risk nowadays. Like, I get it. I'm all for a sure thing, like anybody else would be, but for Christ's sake, like, no one's taking any risks.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. I don't understand it. I wish that it wasn't the case. And like, even looking at the San Diego Comic-Con stuff, that's something you see that's evident. Like, very few companies were doing something drastically different from what the status quo was. And it's like, can we do something else, please? Can you guys do more? Take more risks, do stuff. I mean, like, Mattel's doing some crazy shit, because like, you're selling play sets and shit right now.
Sure.
Like,
they're
nuts.
They're
no
doing what G.I. Joe should have been doing.
Yeah.
They're literally doing what we suggested.
Yeah.
They have like 3 different toy lines.
Yeah.
All based off of He-Man.
Yep.
And all 3 of them are doing very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're all different versions. So you have variety. See, Hasbro, it's called variety.
It's true.
You've got something for everyone. Oh, the Masterverse doesn't work for you. You've got, your retro stuff.
Yeah.
Your retro stuff doesn't work for you. You've got the new age stuff for the kids. Oh, the kids don't like that. They want the Masterverse stuff. You can go for there.
Yeah.
It just makes logical fucking sense. I don't know. Maybe we're just the minority. We just, we're living in idiocracy, and we're not sure. We're both named Not Sure. That's what we are.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird.
We're telling people to put water on crops because the Brando doesn't help grow any crops.
Brando.
And they're like, and all they're saying is, but it has electrolytes.
Brando. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna call it a night here, because shit.
Sounds good, but I gotta go to bed because I gotta wake up at 7 in the morning anyway. So
shit, 7.
Yeah.
Back. Yeah.
I gotta be at work by 9, but I usually like to wake up a little bit earlier so I can get moving. I'm like wide awake by the time I get to work.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, innovation, give it a chance. Give change a chance, man. You got to give it a chance so that we can be doing this. We can be seeing our kids do it. they can get involved and they can see how cool this shit is. You know what I mean? Like, we got to give it a chance, because I feel like the way things are going right now, this hobby is gonna die soon. It's gonna die in like the next 20 years or so, 10 or 20 years, and you know, it's already starting to price a lot of people, a lot of potential collectors and, you know, enthusiasts. It's pricing them out because things are getting way too expensive, and you're not getting enough for what.
Well, you're also pricing the future of the hobby out.
Exactly.
Like, these kids are going to grow up, and when they're 18, 19, 20, they're starting to make, you know, money on their own and start paying their bills on their own, and they want to buy an action figure and it's $50 at retail.
Yeah.
Who can afford that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And not everything else is slowly getting ridiculous too, as far as prices go, you know, with inflation, predatory inflation and shit. Like, yeah, things have to, we got to do more. We got to make this more affordable so that people can have fun. That's the problem, is that the focus is on stuff, numbers, quantity, and not fun. The shit has to be fun, and it has to be able to hit those numbers. So, you know, there needs to be innovation. That's how you bridge that gap. You need to innovate. If you don't innovate, it's just going to stagnate, and you're going to continue with the same, I don't know, 15, 20,000 Joe fans in the world. It's gonna continue to be that, you know, and it's going to have to take a break again, and then they're going to have to iterate, and then it's going to be the same shit, new coat of paint, again, and then you're gonna just go through the same shit you've been going through. So we gotta elevate that shit and you know, create something new. You know, give new shit a chance. That's what needs to happen. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. That's it for me. I'm gonna break it up. I'm gonna kill it off right here, because yeah, this was good though. That was a nice long batch. It's gonna be fun to edit all this shit. Holy shit.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Like 5 hours worth of stuff.
but you know, it's been fun. I'm glad we got to do this though, because we haven't done this in forever. So
yeah, me too, man. It's been good. Definitely tried to, you know, there's been a lot cooped up as far as like thoughts and stuff I wanted to talk about and get out too. So it's been good.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do another one about like fucking just the Masterverse line, and another one about McFarlane stuff, because it's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, I agree.
So stay tuned, folks. That's what we're going to be doing next time. And yeah, that's it for us. You guys have been great. Peace outside.
Bye.